This conference will now be recorded.
Test, test. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting of Monday, April 27th, 2026. Ricardo, may I have the roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Steven Spina,
Here.
Jody Wilkerson,
Here.
Lance Smith, Charles Proctor,
Here.
Kenneth Burgess,
Here.
Mayor Munson,
Here.
William Poe,
Here.
Matthew Maggard.
Here. Physically. Okay, thank you. First business item is reorganization of the CRA board. Do I have a nomination for the board chair?
Who's the vice chair?
Councilwoman, Commissioner Wilkerson.
I nominate Commissioner Wilkerson as the chair.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Congratulations.
Thank you.
And here's the gavel.
Here you go, Mr.
There you go. That was a quick meeting.
That was.
Let's go home now.
Okay. Thank you, former
You gotta
Commissioner.
pick a vice chair.
Oh, yes.
I nominate Commissioner Smith to be Vice Chair of CRA.
I second that.
We have a nomination. We have a nomination on the floor for vice chairperson, Lance Smith. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's what happens. Okay. The first, well, I guess we had roll calls, so, and we've completed the business items 1.1. Next up is the 1.2, presentation of the CRA master plan by our director, Ms. Hamilton.
All righty, couple of things that I want to,
Just real quick, Ms. Hamilton, we're going to like 502, Councilman Smith is, Commissioner Smith is present.
thank you.
Thank you.
Couple of things that I want to bring up before we dive into the plan. I had some questions on the plan and did it include, it does include Lake Necessity, the redevelopment of Lake Necessity. Lighting and sidewalks are also included. Threats to the CRA. Well, if it's not in the plan, we can't do it. If it's in the plan, it doesn't mean we have to do it. It just means we can if the market is right. If things go south in Tallahassee as far as CRAs are concerned, we'll regroup and come up with a plan and move forward. Currently, we do a lot and incentives and grants for residential homeowners for a homestead exemption. Maybe we look at that if things do change. We only do commercial, and we don't do residential home ownership. I'm not saying that we would stop doing home ownership, because good neighborhoods make a great community. So yes, there are threats, and we don't know right now. So I guess that's the answer.
Do we know the percentage of properties that are residential versus commercial?
I know that residential, it used to be 60% that were non-homestead exemption. Now we have 60% homestead exemption. I don't know the commercial right off the top of my head, but I'll get that.
Because it'll be important to know that if you have to regroup, because
Right.
if there's no property taxes, then you're losing county and city money
That is correct.
funding.
So we'll cross that bridge, I guess. And if it looks like it, we'll have a workshop and come up with a plan if it looks like that's going to happen.
Have you also included possible extension of the CRA district, like to 20th Street?
There were those who had talked about that. We didn't get a consensus when we started this process. It's not in the plan right now, but the plan can always be amended. If it is something that the CRA board would like to investigate further, we can certainly do that.
So, Ms. Hamilton, I think you and I have discussed this before. Right now, the way things are, if market values are soft, it's not to our advantage to do it, but maybe it is, because then when this property values start to increase again, then there's that incremental change.
That's right.
However, I think that one of the things that overall Mr. Vandenberg has been working on and you've been working on, and that is this concept of densifying some of these older properties downtown. So if we're going to do that, that's where we have the opportunity to capture that. And there's something, one of the things we talked about in the workshop is there's something that it's deterring smaller builders from buying these infill lots and building on them. And if we can get rid of that barrier,
Right.
then it makes sense to expand the CRA, because then we are capturing every opportunity to maximize the value.
And we are in the position that in Pasco County is a non-charter county, and so we don't have to ask permission from the county to extend our district, to expand it. So there are benefits to that. So it is something that, again, if we want to take it up, we certainly can. It is not currently in the plan. At the time we started this, the CRAs are under attack in Tallahassee. And we have a good relationship with our county. So at the time we started this, we didn't think about it. But again, after we approve this, if you want to look at expanding it, we certainly can. Okay. Any other questions before I get started? And yes, it's 38 slides. And everybody did that look right there when I said 38 slides. But I'll make it quick. I promise. I won't drag this out.
I have to do this quick. It's
better
Gail
than the
Vandenberg.
300 pages.
Gail Vandenberg's making a presentation tonight.
He's on a roll. Why isn't it working? Okay.
Okay.
No. There we go. So the assignment for the master plan is to create a comprehensive vision for Zephyrhills for the CRA. That'll help, won't it? Thank you. For the next 10 years. We need to identify new capital improvement projects, infill redevelopment sites, attract new businesses and jobs, and continue to support existing businesses, streamline the regulation, and update our increment funding projections.
Your mic's off, sir.
Do we advertise? A portion of the CRA is in an opportunity zone. And I don't know, I mean, and they're redoing the opportunity zones right now.
Yes.
And it really is an incentive for developers to come in with a large amount of capital and be able to save all the capital gains tax 10 years down the road.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if we've tried to reach out, because the governor's one who designates what they'll be.
We've been working on
Okay,
this.
because really it's real important that we capture as much in there, and it's by census districts too, so.
Randy, go ahead.
Rodney Corvo, Principal Planner. Councilman Smith, that's a very good point, and we're actually working on that right now. We've already worked with the county, petitioned them to have the entire CRA, the census tracts that are in the CRA. And my next step is to go directly to the BOCC. I'm preparing a letter right now to petition. Now, that doesn't mean it's a slam dunk,
Right.
but we are putting our hat in and we're putting all of the area in.
Good.
So thank you.
And I'm hoping we do the industrial corridor as well.
That's in there too,
Okay.
as well. And as a bonus, since we're on the subject, the census tract that's around the hospital as well. And that's a bonus track. And I say bonus because if they need to cut one of them, we'll use that one to cut. But the CRA and the industrial area are the most important ones that we have.
Good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on
Yeah.
top of it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jan.
we've been talking about it and working on it, and I thought Rodney is the lead on that. So the redevelopment area is 1.3 square miles, 12% of the city's total. There's 3,322 people in the CRA, 306 businesses, and 1,700 people work in the CRA. Things we love. Now, we did a public workshop, and this is what were the number one things that the community loved was City Hall and our Main Street and the Jeffries House and Zephyr Park, our mural program and Hercules Park. These were the things that rose to the top of everyone's list. Things we need to improve. These are the things that people said they really would like us to work on these projects more. Gulf Boulevard, putting bike lanes and transportation, new sidewalks, neighborhood flooding. At the time we were doing this, it was right after the storms and everybody was upset about the flooding. The existing alleyway system, the Oakside neighborhood, C Avenue and Zephyr Lake, flooding and existing accessory dwelling units, alley improvements, flooding and stormwater connectivity, bicycle and pedestrian is really what the topics are. And those are the things that are broader because again, it has to be in the plan and the plan has to be broad enough that we can take advantage of many different projects and not so specific that if we say, you know, the corner of C Avenue and Gulf Boulevard and we want to move it, you know, 2 blocks down, we can't. So the idea is to create connectivity bicycle for bicycle and pedestrian, address flooding and stormwater and alleyway improvements. So if we look at development projections, by 2042, there'll be a 30% increase. If we do nothing, that 30% increase is coming. The CRA will need to accommodate 260,000 square feet of new commercial space and 462 new housing units also by 2042 in a moderate scenario. That's just looking at a moderate scenario.
What do you base that growth on? There's not a lot of land for new development, really.
That is correct, but the GAI, the consultants are using their population projections, and that's what they came up with. I'd love to tell you I knew exactly the program that they used, but I can't think of it right now. But when you look at the area in total, and I don't think that this really includes even Paducah, and MyTech. When we started this, I don't think that that had been approved yet. So one of the things that I have asked them to do is just check the scenario and make sure, since we have new businesses moving in, new industrial moving in, and how it will affect the CRA. Because yes, you're right. We don't have land, but what we do have is we could increase our density to meet that.
Do we have a lot of vacancies in the CRA in terms of rental properties and things, or do you know?
No, we don't. We don't. But for the first time in probably a year, I see more and more for sale signs up. You know, a year ago, if you saw a for sale sign up in the morning, it was gone in the afternoon.
And for rent signs, there's a lot of for rent signs.
Yeah. So again, we had 40 participants in the workshop and 150 comments. Online, we had 150 participants and 250 comments. So these are the things that they commented on that they liked and valued. They wanted to, they showed appreciation for art and the desire for more art in the city, city hall, churches, and schools. The appreciation for what the city has invested in the downtown with the new city hall and the library, and setting an expectation of what development should look like. The small town atmosphere, our heritage, history, our neighborhoods. People love Zephyr Park in the district. They love it like it is right now. They want to see improvements, and they're happy to see the improvements, but they love that park. Residents identify the love for a few local businesses and our main street, the main street, which is Fifth Avenue. And here's the things they wanted to improve. These are the things that they wanted the CRA to look at. More art, improvement for pedestrian and bicycle improvement. One of the things was if you live on this side of 301 or you work on this side of 301, you don't cross 301 to go to that side because traversing 301 is complicated. Streetscape enhancements to improve the sidewalks, add lighting, planting, banners and benches in the CRA district. Improve the alleyway, invest in the system of the alley and make sure that they are safe. There were a lot of concerns about the safety of the alleys. Flooding management, the need for more restaurants, diverse events, something more than just the same 5 events that we do every year with Main Street. Park maintenance, better maintenance of the existing parks and enhanced recreational facilities. And a safe and affordable neighborhood. There were several safety concerns that were brought up. So the vision statement is, we are dedicated to fostering an exceptional quality of life in Zephyrhills community redevelopment area by creating a vibrant, safe, and inclusive community that honors our heritage and celebrates our future. It mainly talks about making sure that we are resilient, that, you know, prices or the market will come and go. We are a blighted area. We have stated we're a blighted area, and we need to create programs and projects that bring us out of that blight and enhance the daily lives of our citizens through the projects and programs that the CRA and the city do. The guiding principles: foster a thriving local economy, preserve the historic character. What makes Zephyrhills Zephyrhills? It's those one-of-a-kind, unique experiences in the city. Promote a balanced investment. Prepare for climate adaptation. Are we going to have more floods? We sure thought about we were a year ago. Now we'd like to see a little rain. But we need to prepare for that and create quality places where people say, oh, let's go to Zephyrhills. Let's go downtown. Those are the things that we need to plan and create. Now, big moves. If you don't think big and you don't plan for big opportunities, then you're missing the boat. Yes, some of these are really big, but they give us a broad sweep of things that we can do and work towards maybe some of these big moves. Expand Main Street. We've talked over and over and over that Main Street is, our Fifth Avenue has got to grow. The businesses cannot survive on the 3 blocks of Fifth Avenue. We need to expand it. Establish distinctive gateway places. When you get to Zephyrhills, you'll know you're in Zephyrhills. We need to work with the county and the state on restoring Zephyr Creek as a natural asset to increase the city's stormwater capacity. Now, the CRA has nothing to do with that. But if we have a policy that says we will support it, then we can use that. If there are grant projects or grant programs out there, the city can use that the CRA is supportive of those programs. Transform Gall Boulevard into a mixed and livable corridor. Yeah, it's going to take a long time, but if we don't think about it now and plan for it, we won't be ready for it. So we want to revamp our corridors and gateways. We want to invest in economic development by creating and supporting the area's development and character and market positioning. We want to enhance the housing in the neighborhoods. We want to build transportation and infrastructure and leverage our parks and open spaces. The development of our parks will create economic development surrounding them. So looking at revamping the corridors and gateway places, create a distinctive gateway places at the entrance into the city, enhance and extend Main Street with local business support, public art, and public realm enhancements. Creating that mixed-use livable corridor by creating mixed-use development and housing diversity, complete streets. Thank you, Todd. The complete streets, streetscape enhancements and infill redevelopment. All of these things, they're not going to happen overnight, but we need to work with the city and the county and the state and make these things happen. Transformational. Now, I have gotten several raised eyebrows about this idea of transforming Fifth Avenue in front of Zephyr Park as a Rambla style space identified in the Oakside and Zephyr Park plan. When we met with the neighborhoods across from Zephyr Park, every single one that we talked to said crossing Fifth Avenue, those 4 lanes, was dangerous. And they did not feel comfortable. They would literally get in their car and drive across the street because they didn't feel comfortable. So the idea is to try and create, will it look like this? Probably not. But the idea is to create something that makes it safe for people who are at Zephyr Park to go back home and across Fifth Avenue, and the same vice versa. If we create a thriving business corridor on the other side of Fifth Avenue because of the improvements to the park, we need to have a safe way for them to go back and forth. The gateways, Main Street South and West, creating a look that says you're here. Target and invest in key catalyst redevelopment sites. So these are the ones that were identified. Does it mean that we will do these? Not necessarily, but it says to the CRA, you need to be looking at these sites and thinking about incentives or programs that can help get these vacant parcels into some kind of activity, into some kind of project. We need parking. We have churches that have parking lots. How can we work together? If I don't have it in the plan, I can't spend CRA monies on it. So these are the ideas behind picking these particular parcels. We had a question about lake necessity. We had done a plan for lake necessity, the Little But Loud project. It came in way too expensive when we first bid it out. But maybe we take it off in pieces and we do Lake Necessity one year, and then we do the Little Bit Loud. We do the alleyway. But again, we have to have it in the plan.
Can we clean up that or cover or put something around that pump thing that's on the right across the street?
We certainly can. I'll work with Public Works and we'll see what we can come up with. We've all talked about identifying, acquiring, and assembling future redevelopment sites. The CRA needs to buy property and create a program that assembles property. Develop a parking strategy that includes land acquisition and assembly. Policy and plans promote sustainable development practices to minimize stormwater runoff. Expand our boundaries. And, you know, everybody says Main Street boundaries and it's really Fifth Avenue. They're talking about the downtown, not our organization of Main Street. Provide design and planning assistance to landowners and prospective developers. What we're doing right now isn't working. We have tough property owners, and trying to get them to do something is not easy. So we're going to have to come up with assistance to help them fix up or improve their buildings. It says theater, but we have a lot of buildings that need improving. Create a business watch program to ensure the comfort and the safety of the area. The comments about safety was really interesting to me. I don't see that on a daily basis. So it was interesting. We don't really have that response back to building owners and residents that I know of, but in this survey, they certainly did.
What were their concerns of safety? Just off the top of your head, I was.
Drug use, drug people.
Milling around downtown.
Yeah, homelessness, you know, people that breaking into their homes, that kind of thing. It was really interesting because again, don't really see that on a daily basis. And sometimes I think maybe the question is answered because of the way the question was posed. You know, it's all in how it was asked.
I've lived in my house for 36 years and I've never had a single
Never
thing
worried about it.
broken into or stolen.
And that's right, knock wood. Create a building and site improvement program. Invest, economic development, the Gulf Boulevard vision. We've been talking about this for years, but we have to figure out a way to position that area to attract quality. We want quality development. We're not looking for the you know, the B, C, or D developments. We're looking for A developments, A and B developments along Gulf Boulevard. If we're going to invest, if city taxes are going to be used and county taxes are going to be used, it needs to be the best. Advocate for diversification. Maintain all stakeholders informed about various redevelopment incentives, programs, policies, and opportunities. The CRA has got to figure out a way to get the word out. We have some incredible programs right now, but people don't know about them. The developers don't know about them. Realtors don't know about them. I've given many talks to the area realtors. And when I find a new one, they have no idea. So it's just a continual education of what we have. Projects, progressive projects, art projects. One of the things that everybody, not just in our survey, but in other surveys around Florida, having public art, having unique experiences is what they want. That's what they'll come for. Not only the people will come for, but businesses will come because of the investment we've made in public art and creating beautiful public spaces and trying to foster that community pride that we have here. The utility box program, trying to create something that is unique for our area. Everybody, a lot of cities have them, but we can create something that's just Zephyrhills. We can all jump right in. Create incentive programs for targeted businesses. We've talked about this. We want restaurants. We're going to target restaurants, and our grants are going to focus towards getting restaurants in the district. If we can get enough restaurants, we can get other businesses. Enhance our housing and neighborhoods. The missing middle housing sampler. We have 26% of multifamily in the CRA, 70% is single family, 4% is manufactured homes, which really surprised me. I didn't think we had, I guess we have the one neighborhood.
2 over there.
Yeah. We need to invest in preserving the existing housing stock to attract investment. We need to create identifiers for our neighborhoods. We have neighborhoods and we have names for them, but we don't have identifiers for them. Putting this in the plan will allow the CRA to spend money on creating some type of identifier. Now, these are from Orlando, but we can come up with something that is uniquely Zephyrhills. Looking at sites that may not be the average everyday site. Reuse of existing non-residential sites and structures to provide additional housing opportunities. We have church properties, we have empty buildings that could be rehabbed for housing. Staff is already talking about pre-approved residential building plans, creating a set of plans that we will give to somebody who wants to build on a lot. Develop promotional materials to encourage the construction of ADUs. We need to come up with a better way to get the word out. Continuing to invest in residential ownership programs and paying grant programs. Yes, as long as we continue to receive those ad valorem taxes. If that changes, we'll have to change our plan. Broaden our incentives to stabilize the quality and the existing housing stock. We have programs for newcomers. We need to come up with a plan for existing homeowners. And we also need to talk about rental properties. We get more, the CRA gets more money from rental than, because they're commercial properties, than we do from homestead exempted properties. So creating those properties, helping the homeowner or the property owner fix up those rental units so that the entire street looks good. We have units that are not something that the city is proud of, and we need to work on that to make them look better. Build on our traditional grid system to purposefully connect the parks, schools, churches, city halls, businesses, and other destinations. We need to come up with a greenway trail. That's one of the things we've been talking about, is how do we connect the neighborhoods to our park systems? We're spending a lot of time on our parks. We need to have people get to them safely. This is the Greenway Loop and Bike Network that we had started looking at. Redesign of 301, it says 331. Oh, I'll have to change that. Enhance our alleyway corridors. This, the existing is in the Oakside neighborhood, and what it looks like today and what it could look like. And there's opportunity for housing that faces those alleyways. Lake Necessity, our 2020 sidewalk plan, the CRA has completed the high priority and the mid priority sidewalks. We need to look at the low priority, and we had a list of sidewalks that because of right of way, we could not do. So we need to look at how we can connect those. What is it that we need to do to make that happen? Streetscape and intersection improvements. Again, we're talking sidewalks, planting strips, street trees, what we're doing with Fifth Avenue right now, and creating stormwater and green infrastructure. Again, looking at restoring Zephyr Creek is not something the CRA will take on, but we need to say that we support it and promote it so that the city, the county, and the state can work on that. That is a huge project. Redesign Shepherd's Park. I'm not exactly, it's one of those things that it needs to be in there. It is amazing to me, since we put the park equipment in Shepherd's Park, how many people are in that park every single day and enjoying it. The basketball court, used unbelievably. So we've got some ideas that we're going to bring back to you on how we can redevelop Shepherd's Park and make it bigger and better. The redesign of Clock Plaza, we've already started. Support the recommendations of the Parks Assessment Master Plan we're currently doing. Continue allocation for funding for park improvements and applying for grants, all currently being done. And that is it. I tried to go through it as quick as I possibly could. I know it's 38 slides. So does anybody have any questions? Comments?
Yeah, I just have something. I mean, as a volume, this is like a tremendous amount, you know.
That is correct. It's
So-
a 5 to 10 year plan.
So what I'd like to see is, okay, let's get specific. Let's drill down and prioritize. What are the 5 things that we can do in the next 6 months to a year?
And we'll do that with the budget. I have to keep the plan very broad
Sure, I understand that.
because of that. But we'll take this plan and every year recreate it as part of the budget.
Right.
So that you look at it and say, okay, here's your 10-year plan or your 5-year plan, but how are you doing at CRA? And I want to see it in your budget request.
Right, and it may be a non-monetary thing too, you know.
That's correct.
It might be an outreach thing where we reach out to the building owners and say, or reach out to possibly developers who may have an interest in an opportunity
It could
zone
be educational.
and do that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's good. I think you need to be broad in the big plan, but we need to narrow it down where it's a little more
And
manageable.
we can do that every year when we set our goals.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that we need to formulate a public information program on what we offer, the incentives in the CRA, and really push them. LinkedIn or I don't know, wherever you go, but you know,
I am
we just need some
surprised.
kind of really public push to say, this is what we have here and this is what you can do here. And
Well, I think our public information officer has done a really good job. I mean, I can think of about 3 things off the top of my head that I'm scrolling on my phone at night, and boom, there's a news story from Tampa, and they're covering something at Zephyrhills. And so that has everything to do with our connections, or Kevin's connections with, you know, with the local media. And I think that that is a newsworthy story, but we have to tell a story. We have to talk about, Commissioner Spina, if you remember, we have people who come in here and they get grant monies. You know, how did that impact their life? How did they tell their friends about it? Did someone else move here because of that? That's where I think the story.
That's a great idea.
well, take before and after pictures with somebody in the front yard or pointing at the roof, or, you know, painting or, you know.
And a lot of this, and I'll say it, a lot of this information we have We just don't push it out.
We don't know about it.
We don't know about it. And I'm saying this for myself, that staff needs to do a better job in pushing this information out. I am so surprised that we have some great grant and incentive programs. And the story that was done on Hercules Park, the next day after it aired, I had 8 phone calls about grants, moving, information about Zephyrhills. It was a great story. So we need to do more of that.
Maybe get some testimonials from the people who have taken advantage of the things and let them tell the story too. Also along the lines of, trying to do what we can do. And I know Fifth Avenue, you're talking about, we'd like to make that connection and we really do need to do that. But I think that's going to be a tough kind of thing to do. So we're redoing Zephyr Park. Maybe we look at that side of Fifth Avenue as a separate, just for now. I mean, we definitely want to make the connection, but maybe we can get some things done over there. And then the people will naturally say, hey, this is really nice here, but I like to see what's going on over there. And they can find their own way, but I don't think we need to look at it as let's do the whole Fifth Avenue all together.
I really do think that they are 2 distinct areas because this is the historic side with historic buildings. We have historic assets on that side as well, but this side doesn't have Zephyr Park. That has Zephyr
Right,
Park.
that's what I'm saying. And with Zephyr Park being redone at the same time, I think that's just kind of a natural thing we can work in with.
So we already have sort of a plan for these 2, we even have streetscape renderings of what the businesses could look like. It feels like to me there might be some low hanging fruit there. I mean, when I drive down Fletcher Avenue, for example, they've put medians in the road and now they have flashing lights. So if a pedestrian approaches the road, even if there's no stop sign, there is a flashing light and motorists are required to stop for pedestrians. So something like that we could do with very little infrastructure, I think with little investment.
Well, and I will be honest, that's a partnership that I would have to make with Public Works and DOT because 301 is a DOT road and we have, I'm sorry?
Right.
Yes?
Yeah, you're right. I thought you were going to say did that.
No. No. Thank you. I told you to help me. So you're right. It is a partnership and we'd have to get them involved, but there are ways to make that transition easier for people and we just need to look at it.
Well, honestly, I mean, I know they might think it's dangerous, but that's not a bad crossing, is it? I mean, because I've been across a lot worse than that. 301 up there at Island is a lot worse than that.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it
so
is.
This is in
and
my.
we heard about that one as well.
Yeah, I can understand that one for sure.
And trying to create refuge, halfway across it. So in case
Right.
you get halfway and the light turns.
Yeah, it's a long way across that one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for some reason they take that intersection, the perception is that it's like really, but you're right. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
go
not
to
bad.
any city, you're going to cross things way busier and worse than that. So
I think it can be done. I think we can pretty it up and make it
that's
feel.
what I think it would take is like visual,
Yes.
almost like cues for them to.
That makes it better. So yes, it is a lot in 300 pages. But when I first came to Zephyrhills and city manager spent it and I drove around and I said, how do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. And we'll take it a bite at a time and we'll get it done. So what I need is a motion to approve it so that we can move on to the next phase.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mayor Monson, did you have any comments? Okay. We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously.
And I'd like to say what a great job, what a great presentation. Did a really good job.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay.
Next item up, 1.2, 1.3, purchase of 38641 and 38645 6th Avenue. Ms. Hamilton?
Yes, I'm waiting for the picture to pop up.
Okay.
So I will tell you, this is there you go, the Parker property that's at the corner of 12th and 6th, right at the end of 6 here.
11.
It's 2 lots. It has been a code enforcement nightmare for years now. We have worked, city staff, code enforcement, CRA staff have worked on this. We were looking at going to court. The CRA said, we'll purchase it if we can make a deal. We got the appraisals. We came back with, the appraisal came back at 70,000. We can offer 10,000 or 10% more to get it to 77, and we'll pay closing cost. One of the biggest things about why the CRA, not only to get rid of this blight, because nobody wants to develop anything next to that, or think that that could happen to their property, the property next door to them.
Vandalized, yeah.
Behind this lot, there are 3 additional lots that are empty. There was a house that burned down. So there is impact fee credits on this property and the property next to it. The CRA would like to purchase this for further to create an incentive for redevelopment. There are alleyways behind these lots that we could create back entrance. You'd enter from the alley, improve the alley, use it as a showcase of what can be done in the CRA district. So staff is asking for approval to purchase this property.
Ms.
Gail, you,
Hamilton. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So you kind of want to get this and sort of market it with those lots behind as all one thing. Okay.
That is correct.
Ms. Hamilton, one thing, I don't know that we have any architectural guidelines, but one of the most important things I think we need to think about is that whatever gets developed there, that it's contextually sensitive to the neighborhood.
Yes.
Because we had an example of that on 8th Street, which, you know, there's a mishmash of different kinds of buildings there, but primarily they were single family, you know, clapboard homes, historic homes, or single story ranch style homes. If we do something, you know, I don't want to see us do a 3-story building next to, you know, a single story home. I do think there is an opportunity.
Would you approve of a 2-story?
I think 2-story is fine. I think that setbacks are important. So when I look at, you know, some of these other developments, they're right up to the property line, 5 feet for the property line. And then there's this giant, you know, and there's no landscaping and there's no buffer, there are no shrubberies, things like that. So I think that whatever the party who purchases the property, that they need to be thinking about, we want it to be cost effective for them and profitable for them even, but we also need to take in, you know, we should take into consideration the character of the neighborhood. So like accessory dwelling units, if you had a smaller house up front and accessory dwelling unit in the back, that would be ideal, but we can't force people to do that if it doesn't make economic sense.
But we can provide them with the plans, the construction plans to build what we would like to see there, save them the cost of that and provide it to them for free.
But would it be, you know, it might be, it needs to be more dense, like an 8-plex or a, you know.
Right, yes.
Do you have several
All of
different
the
options?
above.
I'm sorry. You have several different options on those
Yes,
plans?
yes. We could create several different plans. And in my plan inventory, I did not include an ADU. And shame on me. We will make sure that that is included.
And even if they did an 8-plex, it could be, have courtyard parking in the back or have something really neat and be kind of appropriate to the street front and, you know, with maybe a little roof or porches and things like that. It's just that we've not done a very good job of implementing architectural guidelines for the CRA, and we probably should. Thank you. Dr. Spina, do you have anything?
No, I better not.
And I think that's a good use of the money. The only thing I'm a little concerned about now, we have the Hoffer property, we have this property, we have the property that's to the east of the Hoffer property. Now we've got this one.
That's why I asked for this, a list
Oh,
of what we
okay,
have.
yeah.
Did you get one?
No, I didn't. I didn't. But what we need to
I
do,
thought, I'm
Maybe
sorry.
it's
I thought I-
incentives and not
well,
buying the property.
let's pick out, as what I had talked about earlier, let's pick out one of these and just say, hey, let's try and get this thing out on the market and see what we can get, because it's great in some ways to accumulate property, but we do so for future development. Now let's go ahead and start pushing some of these out.
And the Hoffer property and the Fifth Avenue property next to it is really, once the, Zephyr Park has started, then.
I think you can do it now. I don't
I
think you
agree.
have to wait.
Well,
I
it
think
says
the
on here
people-
you have current plans for development. Are there?
That's what I mean, that now that Zephyr Park has been announced and it's started, we can
Yeah, I mean,
start
that's why I
promoting
asked for
that.
this, because I mean, I think we need to acquire certain things, but I don't want us acquiring it and then sitting on it. It takes it off the tax roll, which probably isn't that much, but yeah, we need to have ideas of how to use the properties before we just kind of willy-nilly purchase
And
them.
the two lots on 11th, as soon as that title is cleared, we'll put that, we'll market that as well. That came from us, to us from the county. All we had to do was pay their fines.
Mhm.
So sometimes the county can't, through sales or tax deed, this one had $1 million IRS lien on it.
Well, and those are right
Correct.
down the street from this.
And so, as soon as we can, it's not an easy thing getting that lien off of there. We've been working on it. So once we get that off of there, we can certainly market it.
That was which property? The 11th Street?
Yeah, the old Whitworth. I'll get it out in a second. Yeah, Whitworth property. There was
$1 million tax lien.
no one purchased it. They didn't pay their taxes. It went to tax sale. No one purchased it because of the liens
That's
that were
why.
existing on the property. So the county took it back and offered it. They have to offer it to the municipality, and it was in the CRA, so they offered it to us. And so we didn't actively seek it. It was given to us, but it is a viable lot in the district, and as soon as we get a clear title, we'll start marketing it.
Okay, I move that we purchase this property.
We have a motion? Is there a
Second.
second? A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next item is the CRA Director's Report.
Okay. I got 10 minutes. 8th Street and Oakside Cemetery are under construction. If you drive down 8th, you'll see the light orbs that are going up in the trees. They started them today. Yes, sir.
Can we go back to the previous item? And do you mind amending your motion to allow the city manager to execute any documents
Thank you.
for sales documents?
Sure. Amend as he suggested.
Ricardo, did you
Amendment.
get that?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Second on it?
Oh, do we have a second?
Yeah, can
I second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Right. And then we have money, we're going to demolish the building.
Yes, yes. Code enforcement will demolish the building, and we'll get a clear lot and take care of that. So 8th Street and Oakside Cemetery, both are under construction. If you drive down 8th Street, you'll see the light orbs are going up. Clock Plaza rehab construction plans and scopes of, the construction plan scope of service was approved at the February 23rd meeting. Kimley Horn is working on the construction plans. We have met, staff has met with Wharton Smith, Kimley Horn to discuss the plans. I had some feedback from the commissioners to refine the plans to include shade structures, bollards, the size of the stage, and the materials being used. And again, I spoke at Historic Preservation Board the other night. The clock will be relocated next to the stage, and the memorial bricks will be relocated as well. We are not getting rid of any of the memorial bricks or the clock. 5th Avenue streetscape. We got the plant palette for The streetscape staff was not happy with it. We went through it, made some suggestions and changes. It's gone back to the landscape architects for a redraw, and I'm waiting for them to bring it back. But I would like to bid Clock Plaza and the landscaping at Clock Plaza with Fifth Avenue. We'll get a better deal the larger the project. The park signage, you'll see on the city council agenda, we are adding the police sign to the park signage. We are waiting for install date. I spoke to the Kenco sign company and they are working on the signs. What they would like to do is do 2 at a time because of the size of them. So as soon as I get a delivery date, I will email all of the commissioners so you can be aware of it.
Ms. Hamilton, sorry to interrupt.
No.
You mentioned Clock Plaza. Do we have final construction plans on that yet?
We do not.
Okay.
They are working on them now. We have the concept plans that were done that we kind of got to, yes, the commissioners liked it. They added the shade structures, some lights, the bollards, those types of things. But once we have construction documents, we will send them out as well. We are, I lost my spot. Code enforcement we'll be doing a sweep in May of the CRA district from North Avenue to 11th and 12th to 20th, so that you'll start seeing signs in the neighborhood saying that they are going to be doing the sweep. They give people an opportunity to, it's a friendly thing. You need to clean up, mow your grass, whatever it is. If you don't do it within the specified time of the month, they'll go back and start issuing citations. Citations? Yes. We're working on the food truck ordinance. We had a meeting with the alcohol and tobacco group and got some clarification from them on the food trucks and what is a food truck and what is not a food truck. So we're making those changes and we'll bring that back to City Council for approval. Also, if you have been out to Hercules Park, yes, we have some dead plant material and some dead trees. We are working right now to redo the landscape plantings on a plan so that we can put it out to bid and replant the dead material. Luckily, or just our luck, I should say, it was right after the 1-year warranty. So we didn't have the warranty on it and it will be a cost. So, and I think that's all I have. Any questions?
Seeing none, we have up next, we have item number 3 is our Main Street report. I see that our director's here. Mr. Poe, do you have something else?
Oh, I'm sorry. Just give me a sec. Alice Hall, city staff met with the council. Currently, Alice Hall will be open during the construction. We are working with the contractor and the engineer. It'll be fenced off behind Alice Hall, so we will continue to use it. Parking will still be open while we figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to use it. We have a feasibility study, and once that comes back, we'll meet with you and go from there. But nothing will happen to Alice Hall for right now. We'll keep it open and keep it rented. Anything else? Okay. I'm sorry.
3 minutes is just enough time. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We're gonna get through this in 3 minutes or less. First things first, we did put the flyer out and registration is open for Kids Fest June 20th. We are currently looking for touch a truck activities, anything that kids like. I'm getting a little old, so I don't remember what all children like, but if anyone can think of any activities they would like, please share those with us. We're very excited about this. This is actually our 4th annual Kids Fest, so we're looking for a great turnout. And also too, we did get Baycare Hospital to sign up as a kids activity sponsor. We are still pursuing other sponsorships, but it's great to have Baycare. We've had other relationships going for the past couple of years, so we're excited about having them step up and be a part of this event. We are currently working on a public arts project. We're currently inviting professional artists to apply for our public art series. We have a new initiative aimed at enhancing the character and visual identity of the Zephyrhills Historic Downtown District. That project is working alongside CRA, and we're looking to do a public art option within the new Clock Plaza area. If you can go down just a little bit. And this is not what we're doing, but I just thought this would be some motivation to kind of see the type of things we're looking at. This is definitely not the actual project itself, though.
But there, something interactive, is that what you're saying, a sculptural element that's interactive?
We would
potentially?
like for it to be, but again, we're going to start somewhere in those lines and figure out what we can do for the budget that we have in place. We've talked to an artist out of St. Pete that gave us some recommendations of some things to look at, and we're pushing this request out as far as wide as we can cast it. So again, this is just the type of thing that we're looking at, but not the actual project itself. Any questions? Thank you, Ricardo. We are currently, if you haven't been looking, please pay attention to our social media. We just rebranded our Instagram page. It is now the actual spelling out of Main Street Zephyrhills. For a long time, it was Main ST Zephyrhills. So we've rebranded. Please follow that page and like, subscribe, and follow, as people say. Our Facebook page is currently doing really well. We are currently a little bit above 18,000 followers. We're trying to get to 20,000 followers by the end of the year. We are, in the last 14 days, up 7%. We've had over 624,000 views over the last 28 days, and we are currently up 43% our viewership. We just did a post I'd say less than an hour ago, that's been getting, actually that post right there. We worked alongside our public information officer and captured some insight of the new Pompano Coffee that opened today. That, in the last 2 hours, that has gotten over 3,000 views. So we're extremely excited about people paying attention to what we're putting out there.
We just have to get them to act.
And they are open 7 a.m. to 2 every day.
That's a fine.
Yes, if you actually, can you click on that where it says see more?
And let me just say, Pompano was a CRA grant. Is it open?
So if you look right there, they're actually limited hours this week, 7 to 1, 7 to 1, closed on Wednesday, and then those hours right there. They're trying to evaluate how the foot traffic flows, which today being a Monday, I will say, the owner called me after they closed, and he was so excited about what the reception they got today. So I think they're going to be happy, but they still need your support. So
Buy coffee downtown.
we are currently in the process of our investor plan. We actually received the check today from one of our Rotary groups, and we're appreciative of that. We are looking for investors on a yearly basis, and you will see a lot more and hear a lot more about this. If you go to our website, the investor levels for the year and to support us is listed online, and you have to become an investor to be able to support one of our events. So that's why we list both of these things on our website. And I kind of already shared the Pompano Coffee with the Facebook posting, but we are very excited to have the new coffee shop open. There are some other, we met with we met with a local photographer who's putting the studio downtown last week. There's a lot of exciting things that are coming over the next couple of days. She is so ecstatic about putting her location in the district. We have some other things that are in the works, so I'm hoping to be able to announce those things over the next coming months. So a lot of excitement. A lot of people say what we don't have, but I really like to engage and talk about what we do have. And even just showing they're currently at 271 followers, so us putting that post out already double, close to tripling what they normally get in just less than a few hours. And then we have speaking of Pompano again, we have our Main Street Mixer coming up on May 12th. that we'll be hosting there. We want to talk and engage with the community about our different committees, about what our investor drive is, about what we do. A lot of people are always thinking that we're event focused. We do the 5 events that Gail mentioned earlier, but there are so many other things, the public arts projects and all the other things that Main Street does. So we're trying to get our committees out in the public and just talk about all the initiatives and things that are going on. We know Halloween and Christmas. We know people know about those things, but there's a lot more to know about what Main Street does for the community. And then lastly, our historic homepage went up on our website as well. It is currently live. Everything and anything you can ask about the home theater project is on this particular page. I encourage everyone to visit our website and just take a look and see all of the activities and all the things that you can access from here. It talks about how historic the location is, talks about the project details, and it also shows some great pictures of what the location has looked like over the years. And then gives a timeline, which will be updated periodically as things are going on with the actual theater project. It also shows some of the renderings of what could possibly become. And there's the ability to also donate to help with that particular project. So it's live now on our website. We are constantly updating our website. So if you can see our social media and our website, we're just continuously working on getting this information out as much as possible. And that is all I have. And I did go over 3 minutes. Are there any questions? I'm sorry.
Anything? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much, Antoine.
Thank you,
We
guys.
appreciate your hard work. The last item on the agenda is citizen comments. Is there anyone here who would like to address the CRA board? Seeing none, I'm going to adjourn and ask that we take a 5-minute recess prior to starting the council meeting.
For the event. Otherwise, I'll be. No, our anniversary is in August. We'll just do a different one. It's just a little vacation. Can't complain.
I saw you just walking.
I appreciate it. I was starting to come out of the phone.
And ain't no surprise. It went out to the whole department. City and internally anyways, a few weeks ago to save the day.
right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Zephyrhills City Council meeting. It's Monday, April 27th, 2026, and it is 6:12 PM in the afternoon. Ricardo, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Charles Proctor,
Here.
Stephen Spina,
Here.
Lance Smith,
Here.
Jody Wilkerson,
Here.
Kenneth Burgess,
Here.
Mayor Munson,
Here.
William Poe,
Here.
Matthew Maggard.
Here.
All right, thank you, everybody. And now we're going to have the prayer with Rodney. Thank you. If you'd stand and we'll, after the prayer, we'll pledge the flag.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear Heavenly Father, we come together this evening to pray that we can be conduits of your love and light, an instrument of your peace. We ask that each one of us in this room individually can be that, and also collectively as a society. We ask all these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right. Thank you. And now we will move forward to the citizens' comments. Ricardo, is there anyone signed up to speak to anything that is not on the agenda?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a few people signed up today.
Well, if you would send the first person up, you have,
All right. First, I've got Jerry Lutman.
if you would state your name and address for the record, you have 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Will's got you.
I'll help you.
There you are.
go.
Thank you.
Okay. Jerry Lutman, 6921 Stevens Path, Zephyrhills. I belong to Silver Oaks, and there's some people here that want to speak also, but I just wanted to clarify 2 things. Mr. Poe was at our annual meeting, March 30th, and he filled us in on what's been happening at what used to be the Silverado Golf Course. I'm here to see if there's anything at all that can be done to move this along. It's been abandoned, basically. There's nothing being done to maintain it, and it's looking worse and worse. I believe they should at least be doing minimal mowing as long as they own it, because it's affecting the neighborhood as it is. The second thing is, it's my understanding that the owners were taken to court in September of 2025 to remove the huge piles of giant oak trees fallen on the property. They had till December 2025, and when it didn't happen, they were fined only $125 one time that I'm aware of. Mr. Poe told us they now plan to burn the piles as soon as the ban is lifted. I called the Florida Forestry Service Pasco County office in Brooksville, and they said that any request like that would have to come through them, and they had no record of anyone filing for a burn. And when I gave them the address, they took a look at their map, and they said if filed, the request would be denied. In that case, I see no reason to delay removing those piles as ordered by the court. Again, it's affecting the neighborhood negatively, and I thank you for letting me voice my concerns.
Thank you. Good job. Next.
Next, I have Kimber Ramos. I apologize.
If you'd state your name and address for the record, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Councilman and Councilwoman. My name is Kimber Rhodes Ramage. I live at 6461 Brentwood Drive, Silver Oaks. And I'm wanting to find out when the trees that are dead and standing, diseased, that are within, 15 feet of my property, I would want to know when they're going to be taken down. I have been in contact with code enforcement, and my understanding is that they are to come down. 2 that were close to my house have been taken down a few months ago. That's my first issue. And my second one is wanting to find out if the owner of that property, have they, do they permit anyone on that property to do things like golfing,
No, there's,
fishing?
no.
There, I mean, there is an alligator in the large pond. And I think we all remember what happened at Disney World with that 2-year-old. And I have seen residents actually, and non-residents from Silver Oaks fishing in that pond. There is an alligator in there, and they have toddlers with them.
That would be on
Do you want me
the
to respond?
property owner, wouldn't it?
So,
And there have been issues of teenagers fishing there and leaving like empty alcoholic bottles.
There's
Yeah.
alligators on the pond in the north too, by where North Lake and Cullen's Trail intersect. That pond up there also has alligators.
yeah. I think if there's gators and they're a nuisance, then those are reported to Fish and Game, and then they make a determination if they remove them or not. The question regarding can people go on there? I can't speak for the property owner, but the representative in conversations, I would believe that it's private property, and supposedly there were no trespassing signs posted. I personally have not seen them, but
There have been no fishing signs posted and they have been removed.
yeah. So
I don't know who puts up the no fishing sign,
right.
but they've been removed.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a city, we're not out there policing that. If there's people on there that are not supposed to be on there or not, that would have to be the property owner would come in and make that complaint. As far as the trees, we'll have to look at them. If they do not pose a threat to the adjacent property or adjacent neighboring properties, they would not be required to come
Someone
down.
came in a white SUV the March 24th, after that March 23rd council meeting. Somebody came in a white SUV,
That's
stepped
probably
out,
me.
some man, okay, and
That'd be
looked
me.
up at the trees and
Yeah. I mean, the ones I looked at, they're leaning away from the property, from the neighboring properties, and they're
What if we
leaning
had a
towards the
tornado?
golf course.
what
Right,
direction
so-
could the tree go?
That could happen to a live tree as well.
Yeah.
So when we look at it, it's, which, is there an imminent threat to the neighboring
There are
property?
limbs that are falling down from those trees. When the wind blows, and I mean, even when it doesn't, I mean, there's limbs that are falling down.
Go ahead. I'd like to ask. Can we get a copy of the court order so we know what it says?
You can.
I'd like a copy of it, then we can see what they were told to do and what they haven't done.
And so
We had a golf course pine tree fall onto our property. It hit one of our trees and then that tree hit another tree. It caused damage to our property. I do not want another pine tree falling onto our property.
What's your address, ma'am?
6461 Brentwood Drive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we send somebody over there to look at it again?
we can have code look at it. I can tell you if it's not
Talked to
leaning
code
in.
enforcement, and from my understanding, they need to be removed.
If
They-
it's
they were-
diseased, then I would think it has to be removed.
The bark's
but-
falling off, limbs are falling down. I mean,
So.
and I certainly don't want a limb falling and crashing into my window, and I know my neighbor doesn't either.
Will you make sure that he has your contact information?
Yes.
And then when code enforcement comes over, hopefully they can speak with you too.
Yes, I mean, there's a formal complaint. I've made a formal complaint. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You don't want the gator removed, you want the fish removed.
Anyone else?
I've got one more. I'm going to apologize right now. What I can read here is Mary and DM Hamill. Don, man. Okay, Mary and Don Hamill.
Hi, I'm Mary Hamill. I live on Brentwood Drive in the community. As you can see, these two front rows here represent Silver Oaks, and we're getting a little annoyed at what everything looks like. And day by day, it's getting worse. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take to fix up the community, but something has to be done. And that's why we're here. We would like things straightened out. It's just, how long do we wait? Trees have fallen. We're going to get mice. We're going to get rats. I mean, and all the weeds and everything are coming onto everyone's property as it grows. So I would just like some answers, and we're going to keep coming to this meeting until something is done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else signed up?
I have no one else signed up to speak. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I'm the other half. Good. 6516 Brentwood. Last month, I spoke to Will about the grass, and he said if he gets, I don't know the number, so many feet high, we gotta do something. But now it's deterring. The weeds are coming over everybody's property that lives adjacent to the golf course. And I'm assuming it's a city, in city. So there should be something, if I own a house and I didn't do anything, I lived in a city, I think the city would go after me for something. And this is really out of control. Before, we lived with it because he was mowing. Now that the board or somebody went from, as you said, there's no longer a golf course as an acreage. Nobody cares. And like I say, we all live next to the golf course, and it's really getting bad. Weeds are coming up, trees are falling down. He did what he had to do to appease this board, as far as I'm concerned, chopping down trees. But there's a ton of them. Another 12, 15 trees that are down and nobody's doing anything about it. And as far as burning, if you allow this people that burn, you're gonna open up a can of worms for everybody in Zephyrhills. Because I believe there's somewheres in Zephyrhills, we got a chops department. You bring your trees over there, they grind them up for mulch. Don't save the money to punish us. So thank you for your time.
thank you.
Mr. Hamill, you made a good point, and that is that the weeds are starting to come onto your property. And I assume that the HOA board controls how your lawn is taken care of. And so at some point, the ownership of the golf course becomes responsible for the damage to your property in that aspect too. You wonder if there isn't a method to pursue. I wish that, and let me just say that I'm so sorry that all of you are going through this, and I wish that our hands are somewhat tied since it's a private property. I think there are some specific issues related to tree safety that we could get involved with, but some of these issues are a challenge because it seems like, legal recourse is the only answer, with the HOA board's help behind you potentially. But we have a couple of experts up here, not me. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Also, just one more thing. There is people camping out on the outbuildings. So there's something's gonna happen.
I'll repeat what he says. He said there's people camping out in the outbuildings.
Yeah.
So that's on record that Mr. Hamill said that, okay? Because he can get back up here. Thank you. So, we did talk last time that burning out there just doesn't seem feasible, in my opinion, at all. Especially with the burn ban up there, and the burn ban's probably going to be for a while. And I just know adjacent to our property, when they allowed burning, it really was an issue for 125 residents for a whole weekend. It was bad. Not only the asthma that I have, but also the soot. and everything that came over onto the properties. So that's a concern of mine if we're going to allow them to burn it. I do know, I think Mr. Poe, you met with him, the owners over there. Are we seeing any movement at this point?
Yeah, as the email that I sent, or I think it was a text that I sent to each of you, I spoke to him. I've met with him with code enforcement. We had a conversation. We had a conversation or Councilman Smith had a conversation with one of the potential leaseholders. Then we also had a conversation with another person who's potentially wanting to purchase the property. I have no idea where those conversations have gone. As a staff, we've marked a date of May 18th to see some improvement. If we don't see anything, then we will bring the county attorney, and I apologize because I cannot remember her name. We will bring her in. She's that attorney who handled the original citation and process. And so we will bring her back in, do a field trip, go review everything, and then make a plan of action at that point on how we address it.
So why is it 3 more weeks? Is there a reason? Is that when she could meet, or?
No, that's
You're just trying to
conversations that
give
we've
them
had to try to
4
give them some
weeks?
time to
Okay.
get some things done. And when we had the meeting with him, he told us things were happening,
Okay.
and that they were in conversations with a lease. So we're trying to verify that before we pull the trigger and
Okay.
take that next step. If there is
Mhm.
truly a company coming in to either purchase or lease it, want to give them that opportunity.
And I think Councilman Spina had a good point here. We need to see what that fining looks like. I know that they were supposed to remove the trees, then we kind of put a pause on them having to, but maybe that needs to be revisited, because I just personally can't imagine allowing them to burn those trees. That's just my personal.
Yeah, no, they're going to have to haul the debris away, but have you seen the court order and what it says and what they're expected to do?
Yeah. Can you answer that? The court order?
I don't know that I actually have a copy of it. I think Joel has a copy he can get to you because it was done through the county attorney's office.
Okay. All right. I do not have it.
Okay.
No, sir.
Well,
So-
I think we need to see it so we know what they were told to do back in September.
Right.
And then in December, we gave them 30 more days.
Right.
And apparently, we've given them
30 more.
60
Too
more.
much, too much.
Yeah, we keep giving them 30 days.
Needs to get cleaned up.
And nothing's done.
He's not going to do anything. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. We've got 6 months behind us, right? At this point. Yeah, yeah.
Just a quick question. Who's responsible to put, no trespassing, no fishing, no nothing?
It'd be the property owner.
Property
Yeah, the
owner.
It's the
owner.
property owner.
Well, there's no signs out there. It used to be from the golf course, signs, no fishing, but all the signs are done when they cleaned up the pond. But people are driving new, they think it's open.
Sure.
And they're driving through, there's no signs that say, do not enter private property, no fishing, no trespassing. And that's up to the owner.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, correct. And so the owners very well could have given permission to people to fish out there or to drive out there.
Mhm.
So I have no idea what permissions have been
Sure.
given or not given. So
Sure.
we can't, as a city staff, we cannot speak to that.
You're right. Right. So,
I can assure you that some of us up here are in constant contact with the city manager about this, and I'm trying to keep Alticini as informed as we go along as much as possible about it. Everything you talked about is absolutely correct. I think, we talk about on May 18th, that grass is ready to be sited right now. We don't need to wait till May 18th to site the grass. What we're talking about the May 18th was the tree debris and all that kind of stuff. But, because what's going to happen is they're going to continue to run the clock out on this, and they might mow the grass 2 times this entire summer if they utilize the court system to their advantage. my suggestion is if it ends up back in court, you guys show up at the court. Now, you're not going to get 3 minutes to speak like you have here, but if they see maybe the property owner sees a lot of people there, like, that you're kind of tired of all of it because, but I really think that we need to go ahead and cite the grass right now because, and then we have to stay with that.
Is there anyone else signed to speak?
I have no one else signed up to speak.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, Lance.
yes, and y'all are right. I mean, and what's going to happen, it's going to start raining in another 30 days.
Yes.
And we ain't seen nothing yet,
Right.
So we do have to, and we tried to talk to the golf course owners several times. And I'm afraid that it's not, we're not able to converse really. I mean, we hear things and it just doesn't seem to happen. So the last conversation that I had with the city manager about it is like, we just need to do whatever we have to do to start forcing it. Now, the broader question is, will it ever be a golf course again? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Is somebody willing to come in there and spend $2 million to improve the golf course and everything to have it possibly be closed by a hurricane again? I don't know. That's a question. I don't know. And that's what we've been talking about. What are our options? We have to look at it as a whole. We may even have to get with the other communities that surround it as a whole and try and come up with a solution. But hopefully we can get this other interested party in there with some money, but it's going to take a lot of money. So, and honestly, and I must say this, while we would rather have that debris out of there, if they can get a permit, which I don't know if they can or not. I don't know if they can get a burn permit. And if they did, they'd have to use a forced air burner, and it is bad, but it might be worth sitting through a weekend or a few days of that to get rid of the mess. So, I'm just throwing that out because if they have to haul that out of there, what's going to happen is he might not do it. Then it's going to be up to the city to try and clean it up. Now, are we going to be willing to pay $100,000 to clean it up? I don't know, so it's not a good situation, so we're.
You're right. The worse it gets, the worse you gotta have to come.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants it.
Absolutely.
Overgrown, the fires that move.
You're right. You're right. Every day that goes on, it deteriorates,
And the city benefits the city down the road.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're right. And our property values are continuing to plummet in the community. So, and you notice there's not much sales in there. Nothing's hardly going. So, but, every one of us wants a solution. It's not going to happen tomorrow. So we just need to start applying as much pressure as we can and see what happens,
But,
quite honestly.
I attended the meeting in September, the court meeting in September, and he was told to have it cleaned up by the end of December. He'd be charged with contempt, and that's never happened.
Well, I think we're
And
at
I don't
that
know why
point.
that hasn't happened.
So the county attorney did not continue, or we weren't able to show cause because they were making progress. And that's what was relayed to me from our code enforcement officer.
Well, I don't really call that progress, but then.
Progress as in they cut the trees down and they left them on the ground. That's not real progress. So maybe we need to revisit what progress means. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you do.
For real. It's ridiculous. It's been going on way too long. But anyway, is there anyone else that is not signed up that would like to speak to anything that's not on the agenda? Well, you just had 3. Sure. Go ahead.
Regarding the no trespassing, I heard from the Zephyrhills Police Department that there was a moratorium, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, a moratorium of agreement regarding the trespassing. Remember, a memorandum of agreement regarding the trespassing, and that the police could step in and have people removed from that property without contacting the owner first. That was my understanding. This memorandum of agreement was signed by the owner in May of last year, and it's good for a year. So come May, that it will expire, and it would need to be re-signed by the owner. And that's my understanding, and I was told that by the Zephyrhills Police Department.
Derek Brewer, Police Chief, City of Zephyrhills. That is a trespass warning agreement that we make with property owners. If it was signed in May, it will expire in May. We'll have to get it renewed. Basically, that gives the property owner gives us the permission to trespass people if we catch them on the property. I don't know if it was filled out or not. I don't have that information, so.
So let me ask you on that, in that consideration, would it be possible for a citizen in there to make a complaint, or does it have to come from the owner? Well, I know that, but I'm talking about this memorandum of agreement. Would it still have to come from the owner?
It has to
that
come
they
from the
see
owner.
somebody out there? So residents just couldn't call because they see people
No.
playing a baseball game out there?
Correct.
So that has to
The owner has to sign the agreement.
But I'm talking about homeowners in the neighborhood. Would it have to be the property owner to make, I know you guys can go out there,
Correct.
but you're not going to go out there until you're called out there.
Right. And
So-
we're not going to issue a trespass warning unless the owner has signed the agreement.
Right, I understand that. So, but as long as he does, and if a resident in there sees somebody out there doing something, they shouldn't be like riding dirt bikes,
And we
then
get called out,
anybody
we
can
issue a
call,
trespass warning.
but you're not going out there unless you do get called. So,
Correct.
okay, thank you, Derek.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, I will move forward to the mayor.
So it's time for the reorganization of our council president. So I'll let you guys move forward with that. Do we have a nomination?
I'd nominate Steve Spina as a council president.
Second.
I have a
Okay.
motion and a second to nominate Steve Spina as the council president. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I'll hand the gavel. We'll trade seats.
We can just take it.
Mhm.
Okay, next we have nomination for vice president.
I nominate Councilwoman Wilkerson to be vice president.
Second.
Okay, any other nominations?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Seeing none,
Your turn.
all in favor of Councilwoman Wilkerson being named vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is council member liaison appointments, and we have the Ridge League of Cities, Chamber of Commerce, Main Street, Zephyrhills, Metropolitan Planning Organization, and Tourist Development Council. My understanding is there is no alternate to the MPO.
No,
No.
We
No.
tried that last
Yeah.
time.
right. There isn't. No.
So currently, does anybody want to make a change to their appointment?
No.
They just, I'm
All right,
the vice
Charlie's
chair
on the
now,
Ridge
so.
League, I'm the Chamber, Jody's the Main Street, Lance is MPO, and Kenny is Tourist Development. Correct?
Mr. President, I move we leave them the same as they were, or as you presented, actually.
A second. Oh, go ahead.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion.
Mayor, do you have appointments that are separate from here, or included on this?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay, next item, Mayor. Right.
All right. So then item number 3 is the ZEDC quarterly update. Dr. Stovall.
So good evening, Randy Stovall with the Chamber of Commerce. You should have a report. I'm not sure when you got it, but we have, it's like a 6-pack. That's it. Yep. Not that one.
This one.
This
It's not that pretty, Jody.
I have it already.
It's just text.
It looks
But-
like this.
What I will say is, it's set up based on the current contract, which is a 3-year contract, and we're in year 3. So what Vicki did when she wrote this is to try to go through all the items that were specifically listed in the contract and just tell you what we had done relative to those things. And so the first page tells you all the kinds of things we do. You know, we work with what we call stakeholders, which are business leaders in the community and other leaders in the community. We work with city staff and PEDC and Main Street staff for a steering committee, which is where we kind of get direction and advice, work with our coalition that way. We have an economic summit, and I'll have the list of those that we've done for the last 3 years. We have a fourth one coming up. It's October, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Then, of course, sometimes we do research projects, and there are lists of those here, and ones in the previous contract period are also listed, and actually the full text is available on our webpage. And then we do a variety of things. Vicki particularly does things to help support local business when she's called upon to do that. So generally speaking, then we have a series of activities, and these are detailed, and I'll kind of step through those, and if you ask questions, we can talk about them. But we also have, in addition to the ongoing activities, we'll always have some major project. I think of it as a major project each year, and sometimes it is an in-depth survey of some aspect of our community. This year, it happens to be working to help our manufacturers get good employees, so they'll be happy in our community and prosper. So that's kind of the overview. If you were to look through the report, the first part is to just tell you when we have actually held the meetings that we said we would hold. So we have a bunch of them there. Basically, the stakeholder group, which is our citizen business leaders, we meet basically every other month. Sometimes we may have a year where we didn't have a meeting at Christmas time, but generally we meet every other month. In the intervening months, we meet with our steering committee. But on the second page of the report, there is a list of all the different kind of presentations or topics for our stakeholders during this particular contract period. And if you look at them, you know, it's pretty diverse. And they kind of tell you, if chronologically, some of the business opportunities that we may have had. Some of them may not have been as good as we thought they would be. You just never know how things are go. And we had in-depth discussion with our distillery that we hoped would be downtown. We know they're still out by the airport and industrial park, which is good. We had a good meeting with them. We had the U.S. attorney come here in the room and talk about things that most of us don't hear about except on the news. And I think the kind of takeaway I had for that is somebody with a lot of influence on our lives in the person of that attorney. He seemed to really be interested in connecting. So that's very good for us. And then I don't know how many people in our community know that we did have this mushroom farm. I guess it's still there. And so we had them, they brought samples. Amazing. And they sell these things to the food service industry. So that's a business people wouldn't know so much about. Skydive City, of course, we all know about, but it's good to keep up with them. And we had them in. We've had speakers from our county government, including our East Side Commissioner and people from the MPO. We even had a story of Jarrett Ford's expansion, and you know, they're domiciled in Dade City, but they certainly serve us, and they're very active in supporting Zephyrhills, so good for them. And then before there was Baduco, we already had an international business, and it's the Professional Hair Labs. And if you don't remember them, they make hair products in Ireland, ship them to the port at Port Lauderdale, truck them up to Zephyrhills, where they package and distribute them across the country. So that's an interesting business that we wouldn't have known about if we hadn't had this presentation. And then more recently, we have been working with AmSkills, and I'll tell you a little more about AmSkills in a minute, particularly if we talk about our most recent work. But I will say we had the Pasco MPO, it has contracted, and I guess it's over now, with a consultant to develop a traffic safety plan for the county. I think that's supposed to be presented to MPO. Has it come to you yet, Lance? Maybe the next meeting, I think. You think you'll get it. So that's a very good process. And they do look at accidents, particularly serious accidents. And I hate to say that, we're in an area where there are some. 301 is not the safest place to drive. Not as bad as Highway 19, but still it is a place that gets attention. And so we had an early kind of draft of that process. The consultant came and talked to us and received input. And then I do want to talk about CareerSource. You know, CareerSource is a good partner, and it's a good example of really the kinds of ways that we work in ZEDC. You know, we work by leveraging our partners, and other people have skills, talents, things they do, and CareerSource certainly is one of those. And we did have a day where we just asked the CareerSource people to tell our attendees to the stakeholders meeting everything they do, because I think it's one of those things you need to remind people. You know, there's free services to help our businesses. And then, of course, they also are in the job business. And so they became an important partner in our job fair activity for Bauduco, and will continue to work with us. And I'll come back to that in a minute. So that's kind of on that third page. Then we talked about our economic summits, and I'll just give you the titles for the last 3 years. We had one called Innovative Zephyrhills, in which we talked about our latest update on the retail segment of our economy. We had a great transportation meeting, and that one, you know, Todd was able to give us the map, and you know, he's been working on hotspots, and that's good for everybody to know, and talk about the roles of different players in the transportation world. Last year we did conservation and all the efforts with the city, and the parks certainly are kind of the fruit of all that work the city does. And then this coming year, October, we're looking at highlighting all the things happening in the industrial corridor. And of course, this is April, so we haven't got the agenda ready yet, but that's coming. Seemed to be a good topic from our steering committee discussions. There is a whole page, and because I asked Vicki to put in her report the stuff she did for us, there's a whole page on the different activities she did to redo our webpage. And, you know, she has listed all specific things that you can see there. And as I had mentioned to a previous report, we used to have a separate economic development webpage called Clearly Zephyrhills. And so really at the advice of our steering committee, we decided to discontinue that separate webpage and roll the ZEDC kinds of activities and the other things that were in that Clearly Zephyrhills website, roll that into the chamber website. And this, she has done so. And so now anybody who Googles Zephyrhills will surely in their list get the chamber. And on the front page of the chamber is ZEDC and a variety of other things about our community. And I don't know, maybe it would work, but the thought was at the time from our steering committee that if you just Google Zephyrhills, you might not see Clearly Zephyrhills, you might see Chamber of Commerce, because people look for that. And every community has a Chamber of Commerce, and so it's kind of a known entity. Anyway, that's what we've done, a lot of work. And one of the things I had asked her, and she put a little estimate in here of cost, what would it have cost if we hired that done? And I really don't know, because you never know those things to actually engage the consultant, right? Or put an RFP out or whatever. But I've done a little looking around at the web myself, just kind of looking for firms that do web page work. And what I would just say from the work I've looked, and you can do your own Googling, but I think the estimate she gave you is a real bargain. I don't think we could get that work done for that price if we had to hire it done. So I think, again, it's a good way to leverage your money. On the webpage, the current, the things listed here in this report certainly are available on that webpage, but also the things we've done in prior years are on the webpage, and people can look at those anytime they want. Some of them are, what is that? What is the phrase? Geo-located or geo-smart, where you could hover over a part of the map and learn about particularly the business corridor. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about Baduco, because I think, a couple of weeks ago, we had a job fair that we helped coordinate for them. And I had asked Vicki to put into the report kind of some of the steps that she took to bring that job fair here. And she began working on it several months ago. And again, our partner at CuraSource is very helpful there, because that's one of the things that they do. And I don't know if you came out there. Some of you did. I know Steve did. I did. There were a lot of people that wanted to go to work at Baduco. I don't know how many they've hired, if anybody, but the point is, I think it certainly helped Baduco to see they have interest here in our community. And sort of the follow-up to that is the work we've been doing with AmSkills. AmSkills has a grant to pay for people to learn about manufacturing jobs here in Zephyrhills. And they're wanting to do it later in the summer. I think they're going to, hope they've made a deal with your brother, can do it at the BAR's training facility in the south side of town, because that would be really ideal for a 2-week kind of everything you want to know about the major topics in manufacturing, and some terminology and some how to do measurements and things that are kind of universal. So they want to do that for us. And the method, in addition to the specific training, the method that they use to get that to work is they need to engage local employers beforehand, but also during the process, because the last of that boot camp training they do is interview. And they're not expecting to get hired. They're not expecting from the boot camp to get hired, but they might get an internship, apprenticeship. And that really is what the people at AmSkills push. And it gives the participants a chance to get their foot in the door. And so it also gives the manufacturers who hire them an opportunity without being committed long-term to see if that person could work. But to get that to go, the AmSkills folks over the years have found that if they do a small job fair prior to the actual boot camp, that helps them recruit good participants. So my guess is we probably would be following through with some kind of a job fair in June. That was a time frame that seemed to work best to get that training for us in the summer. So I think we'll work with that, see how that goes. Vicki is knowing that part of her commitment to this is to work with some of the local businesses and helping the AmSkills people, do the connections on our side. And then she also has been working with our other 2 big manufacturers, Tibbetts Lumber and Mytech. And they want to have their own job fairs. And so that'll be coming up probably later in the summer. And it kind of is dependent upon how fast they get their facilities ready. They're not really wanting to hire until they have a place to put them. But progress is being made. If you've been by there, both those facilities are coming along. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Then there's a list in the later part of the report of a lot of things that Vicki or one of us does that it connects us to the other parts of economic development. Vicki has got certain training she's done. She participates with a lot of different committees, including PEDC. So I wanted you to see that. And then if you had questions, we'll try to answer them. And I told Vicki, since she's here, if the questions are too detailed, she'll have to come up, okay?
Any questions?
I do have a question here too. Thank you, Dr. Stovall. That was very comprehensive. So I actually did look up on the website, and I have used this as a resource on several occasions. It looks like you've recently done a medical industry survey follow-up, which I thought was kind of interesting because there were only 50 respondents, but they're probably people who work in the Zephyrhills area. And it was very interesting that they say that they all commute at least 15 to 30 minutes a day to get to their job, and that they've considered that a good commute. I think that's kind of interesting. The other thing is that it looks like you prepare a report or a survey, and then you issue an update a few years later. So it'll be interesting to see what the industrial market report says in a year or so, because it'll be a different landscape at that time.
And
Certainly
particularly
will.
if you look at the growth in Premier,
Mhm.
I mean, seems like every other week they're opening a new facility here, so that's helping.
And one other quick question, and that is that I was driving on County Road 54, and I know this is not in the city limits, but
Mhm.
I'm still interested. There was a group that I think, gave some incentives to, the city offered some incentives, or the county offered incentives. It was a group called Century Boats, I think.
Yes,
That is in the city.
It is in the city, right?
yeah. it's in the
But
city.
I noticed that they're not at that location any longer. Did they grow and move, or did they
So
evolve? their
Todd
business?
actually has some information on that, but I'll just kind of paraphrase, and if I get it wrong, you fix it. So the people who are associated with that had contacted him. They're interested in reopening that factory, perhaps expanding it and making some additional models or something. And that was a few months back. Yeah. But then we haven't heard anything else. So
Actually, I can give an update on that. Actually, last week,
okay.
They came out that their phase 2, like redevelopment, that they will be investing $10 million
Great.
in that plant.
Yes.
So
That's
that
good.
came out, I
That
think
is
the
good.
20, when did we do the bus tour? Last Wednesday. So it was like
Okay,
Monday,
okay.
I think it was Monday or the Friday
Right.
before the report came out that they're
Right.
investing $10 million in that
Oh, that's very
location.
good. Because I was worried since he hadn't heard from a while.
And,
So
No,
and
it's-
correct, and creating 50 more jobs.
Right.
50 more jobs.
And it's new owners. So, yeah, that'll be,
So that's
that'll be a
great.
good thing.
That's a very good project. So, hey, thank you. Set that up. That's very good.
Try to help out.
All righty.
Definitely for me, sir.
Anyone else? Thank you. I
right.
think this is very comprehensive.
Okay.
I appreciate the work that went into it and
Thank you.
the knowledge and providing this information on what you've been doing.
Very good.
over
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody wants to take off? If not,
Sure.
do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion that we pass all 5.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No nays, motion passes. Next item, we have a public hearing on historic preservation certified local government, second reading of ordinance 1516-26. Do I call the public hearing first?
I'll read in the record first, the title. Thank you, Mr. President. This is second reading ordinance number 1516-26, ordinance of the city of Zephyrhills, Florida, creating new sections 30.180, 30.181, and 30.182 of the chapter 30 of the city of Zephyrhills Code of Ordinances to update and provide changes to the Historic Preservation Board, amending chapter 154 of the city of Zephyrhills Code of Ordinances to incorporate updated provisions for historic properties and the historic district, repealing section 10.02.05.04 of the Land Development Code to avoid duplication of applicable codes to the Zephyrhills Historic Preservation Board, historic properties in the historic district, providing for repealer, severability, codification, and an effective date. And this
Okay.
is a public hearing. I'd ask that you open the public hearing
Okay.
before any presentation by
Okay, I'll
Will.
open the public hearing.
Good evening, Council. Will McCaw, City of Zephyrhills Planning Department. As y'all remember, hopefully last month or earlier this month, we had heard this item with the update for the Historic Preservation Board ordinance. I did speak with the CLG coordinator with the state regarding the chief elected official. That was one of the language issues that we had in the document as it exists. There was no concrete that it has to be the mayor for the chief elected official. He said that it could be whatever the city typically uses for their chief elected official, or if the council prefers, we can assign the mayor as the chief elected official for the purposes of the historic preservation ordinance. So section 30.180 would be the subsection D would be the one that's updated. That's the one that currently reads the mayor serves as the chief elected official for the purpose of the Historic Preservation Board. If the council would like to change that to be the council president, that's entirely up to the council. As Tyler Smith with the state CLG had made clear to me when we spoke.
Okay. there any consensus?
I think
or-
we should make it the council president based on what your conversation was with them, because that is the signing authority for all of our other documents and contracts, is the council president, the way the structure is set up.
Well, and the mayor already serves as the ad hoc committee chair for the planning commission. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think the key, I think, is the legal signing authority, and typically that's the council president in the way our system's set up.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there any other changes or anything, updates or? we're
From
good?
the last hearing, no, there has not been any other updates other than the issue with the chief elected official.
Okay, are there any questions from council or comments? Mayor?
No, sir. I move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve, yeah.
Wait a minute, I have to close the public hearing.
Oh,
first,
okay,
right?
sorry.
All right, I gotta
Sorry.
close the public hearing.
We have
Okay,
to ask for
now.
people, we have to ask if people want to
Oh, does
comment.
anybody in
That's
the
right.
audience have any comments? No? Okay.
Seeing none, Mr. President, I'd like to move that we approve item number 2.1, second reading of ordinance number 1516-26
With the change.
with the changes noted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Motion passes. Next item is our business items. 3.1, appointment to the library board.
I guess I'm handling that. So there was a position that was open. Joan Schweitzer would like to fill that position, and that is the recommendation from staff.
I move to approve Ms. Switzer as the newest library board appointee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Joan Switzer as to the library board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays? Motion passes.
She comes highly recommended from her son.
Mhm.
Business item 3.2, historic facade grant, 5411 10th Street.
Good evening, council. Will McCaw, City of Zephyrhills, Historic Preservation Planner for this one. The historic facade grant for this property at 5411 10th Street is specifically with the replacement of the windows on the structure facing the frontages that the building has. There are 6 windows that they had requested a certificate of appropriateness for, 4 of which are fronting the street. Those are what they're requesting a historic facade grant for. They'd actually come to our Historic Preservation Board 3 times with 3 separate proposals. Each one, the first 2 had been shot down. Originally, they had proposed vinyl because they had been approved for it in the past erroneously. Then they came back with aluminum that was wood cladded. The Historic Preservation Board denied that certificate of appropriateness as well. And then most recently, they finally came forth with wood frame windows that match all of the design standards for the Historic Preservation Board. The total that they are quoted for the work was $8,700. On the historic facade grant that you see, that's the amount that they requested funding. That is incorrect. They can only get up to 50%. So the amount that they're requesting in funding is the $4,350.
Okay.
Mr. McCall, the windows seem very small on this facade for this type of house, just speaking as an architect. But my question to you is, over the years, has that been modified? Does it appear to have been modified to make the windows smaller?
No, this is actually the exact size that they have currently on the site. I didn't see any certificates of appropriateness in the past that suggested a downsizing of the windows. That's something that typically we wouldn't, or the Historic Preservation Board wouldn't approve either way. The massing and the size and the design of the windows is normally supposed to be held consistent. And so I didn't see anything within the record up to this point that downsized those.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to see the Historic Preservation Board pays attention to what they're asking for and what's eligible. That's a good thing.
Yes, we've been making sure to keep holding people's feet to the fire and making sure we're maintaining those design standards.
Okay, do we have a motion or any other comments from council?
One other question. Do we Do we send out periodic notices to people to remind them of the opportunity for them to use facade grants? Or do you think most people know about it now?
I don't think most people know about it. It's something I'm working with our public information officer on and sending out, especially since we, council adopted the increase to the Historic Preservation Board grant and for the inclusion of roofs. We're working on sending out a notice to everyone within the historic district that those funds are available to them. This would be the third so far since the start of the fiscal year that we've issued, and I know within the next 2 months we'll have 2 or 3 more coming to us. So we've had quite a bit of participation since I started with the historic district.
We want to preserve our little houses, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like we talked during the CRA, we can include these in the push to let people know what's available in this area.
Exactly.
Good, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 3.3, Duke Energy Franchise Agreement, first reading of ordinance number 1517-26.
Ordinance number 1517-26 establishes a long-term franchise agreement between the city and Duke. The ordinance grants Duke the legal authority to use public rights-of-way for the installation, operation, and maintenance of electric utility infrastructure necessary to provide the electric service within the city. As you can see in the memo there, all the provisions really remain the same. It does allow or requires that Duke pay a fee to the city. It's equal to 6% of its base revenues from all sales within the city limits. It also allows the city, if at any time that fee increases in other agreements, the city can open it up and have that discussion to increase the fee as well. It does give Duke exclusivity to our rights of way. With that, staff presents ordinance 151726 for approval to advertise for a second reading.
Is this, we've had this for years with them. Is this just like a renewal? Or?
Correct. Yeah, the current agreement was signed, I believe, in August of '96. So it's typically a 30-year agreement.
Okay.
So this is replacing that. We're doing it before it expires. So
yeah, not till
yeah.
not till August.
So
we're proud of that.
Yeah. So there are 2 automatic 5-year extensions. So it is essentially is a 40-year agreement.
Before you entertain any motions, Mr. President, I'd like to read it by title into the record.
Sorry.
First reading of ordinance number 1517-26, ordinance granting to Duke Energy Florida LLC, doing business as Duke Energy and Electric Utility, rights-of-way utilization franchise, prescribing the terms and conditions related to the occupancy of municipal streets and rights-of-way in the city of Zephyrhills, Florida, for the purpose of providing electrical service, providing for severability of provisions, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you.
We have representatives from Duke in the audience if you have any questions.
Does council have any questions?
I do. And thank you for being here tonight. This is the same Duke that we had issues with the pole on, isn't it? Is this the same Duke?
Yeah, that would be.
It is. Same company.
Well, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Katie Christian. I'm Director of Government and Community Relations. Thank you very much for having us here. So happy to answer any questions. So yes, it probably was our pole.
Yeah, and we had a road connection that needed to be made to an underserved community to a shopping center, and we had no help from Duke whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think they were obstructionists in trying to get that thing connected. And if there's anything we can put in this agreement that would keep that from happening, I'm all for it. Because I felt we had been good partners with Duke, and I think that we got no help from them at all.
Yeah.
That's just me, so.
And just in case you don't know the story, this is a road that connected 301 with another tertiary road that was in town. And it was the right of way was granted by the developer, but the individuals representing the developer did not necessarily communicate effectively what the long-term plans were for this road to Duke. But once that happened, and things happen, we went to Duke and asked them for their help, and it was like, no, it's $8 million to move the pole 30 feet and, go pound sand. was their response essentially. So you can imagine how our residents feel about this debacle of an intersection now. And it's all we hear about. So thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, I am
We hope we can
familiar.
eliminate
yes,
that.
Yeah, familiar with the situation. And I think, of course, it's like the story about the elephant. And if you have different people touching different parts of the elephant, they think the elephant's something different. So of course, Duke's perspective of what happened is very different from, the developer or the city or the residents. I think from our perspective, we put the pole exactly where the developer wanted us to put it and asked us to put it. And by the time the pole was there, they wanted us to move it so that, we did consult with the developer, and it just, unfortunately, they, really, I think, either changed their plans or decided to go with something different. So this agreement in particular, though, to answer your exact question, this agreement is going to apply to city rights of way. So this is any city-owned right of way. And there is a provision, there's actually a Florida statute that requires Duke and the city to kind of work together when relocations need to be done within rights of way. Because the city still owns its right of way, Duke's going to have to pay to relocate poles within the right of way. And the particular provision is 9C.
No,
for
was that?
I'll let Matt talk.
Yeah, was that a city right of way that we were talking about?
It was a private easement obtained by
Yeah.
Duke through eminent domain taking that was settled at mediation. So it was a stipulated agreement to a taking between Metro and Duke.
Is it right away now?
No, it's Duke, it's a easement owned by Duke.
Okay. Well, now that we know
Over
you're our
the developer.
government liaison,
Yeah.
we will be sure to call you directly if we have another situation arise, so we can try to nip it in the bud and not let it build up to where everybody gets frustrated. And
Definitely.
so we
And
can surely, if you want to leave a card,
Yes.
then we can make sure that we go directly to you first.
Yeah, definitely. And we're happy to do that. I know Derek Farfan is the large account manager, so he works with all the businesses here. It was interesting to hear the economic development presentation as well. So he's working with that. So he's here in the city all the time as well, and he can be a good
So we
contact.
can-
He's working on getting routine meetings together so we can talk about things like this, because the more we talk, the better the coordination
Okay,
becomes.
well, we get your card too, sir.
Yes.
Thank
We
you.
already beat him to death about the poll and the meeting talking about this. So I'm sure he's not surprised to hear about it again.
Well,
But the problem is when they were presenting the transmission line to us, it all looks good. Why didn't somebody at some point see two roads lined up and say, hang on a second, we can't put that transmission pole there. I mean, well, and then we got that we couldn't have the road so close to the transmission line when in fact the one road that runs along beside Starbucks, Daughtry, it's closer than the road's going to be. So it's like, that's not working with us. And if the language in there is the same language we had in the other agreement, I ain't for it. So.
I don't
Okay.
think this agreement would have helped with that regardless, because it's like not.
And you're probably right. You're probably right. So what that tells me, when a transmission line comes in, be very careful where those transmission poles, and I understand Duke. That's an expensive
Those are
proposition. But I do know that the community that could have been served the last 2 years by that connection is still not being served. So, I was even gonna write to whoever Duke was and the head guy and see if we could get any movement on it, but I should have.
is Melissa still there?
I was gonna say, that's Melissa.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
all right,
Melissa.
yeah, all right, yeah.
Yep, she's our state
Melissa
president.
Sexius?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Melissa
she used
Sexius.
to be the government
I didn't hear from her.
liaison, or, yeah, we've worked with her quite a bit in the
Went up the
past.
chain
Yeah.
too.
All right, well, we got her number.
You got her number too. Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, thank you. All right, is there any other comments from council? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the Duke Energy franchise agreement, first reading ordinance number 1517-26.
Give a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Item 3.4, the May 7th Municipal Association of Pasco meeting. Matt, you want to read that?
Yeah, let me read this before the city manager takes over. It's first reading of resolution number 869-26, resolution of the City Council of the City of Zephyrhills, Florida, authorizing the City Council of the City of Zephyrhills to participate in a joint meeting in the Municipal Association of Pasco to discuss matters of mutual interest, providing for an effective date.
Okay, this is for the MAT meeting then on May 7th in Port Richey.
Correct.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is our Finance Director's report. Mr. Beeson.
Ted Beeson, Finance Director for the city. In your packet was an item that discussed being able to take our 6 business partners that we have right now, combined to go ahead and service our utility billing. And we were trying to go ahead with Paymentus and WaterSmart to consolidate those operations and bring them in under Tyler's package. Thank you, Ricardo. The 6 subsystems around there, the black lines indicate data flows that we're responsible for. So everything to the left of the screen with WaterSmart and Paymentus is a manual operation that we need to make sure that the data flows between those 2 subsets and then Tyler Technologies. WaterSmart's been popular with the city staff. It's also been popular with our customers. It goes ahead and shows your out of your bill. It shows your water consumption, fairly easy to navigate. It's been a win for us. But WaterSmart's linked integrally with Paymentus. Paymentus's contract comes up December of this year, and they really defend their contracts. It's a 3-year renewal. If you don't hit that date, you're stuck for another 3 years. So we're ahead of the game on this, and we would say that we would like to go ahead and have permission to do our credit card processing with Tyler Technology, no longer with Paymentus in December. Next slide, Carl. So we would be eliminating those 2 business partners for us, and then also eliminating all the data transfers, which are manual processes that we need to be really on top of each day. If we do that, then we're just left with the right side of the screen. The obstacles with this is that Paymentus has about 4,000 of our utility customers that are auto draft, meaning they've signed up to go ahead and draft their bank account, or they've given us their debit or credit card. We would have to go ahead and have each one of those people reinstitute themselves with Tyler Technology. That would be a task that needs to take place fairly quickly. We would stage it out. We've been through this before, a partial about 6 years ago, when we had Fathom kind of move away from us pretty quick, and we had to go ahead and do our auto pays. At that point in time, we only had 1,600 customers with auto pay. Now we have 4,000. We would work on it. We'll get it done. Paymentus and WaterSmart, when it comes to charging our $4 late fee and $65 disconnect fee, don't readily tie very well. They can see the overall balance on the account, but they can't see the specific fees that are make up of that. So with Tyler Technologies, customers will be able to see the $4 delinquent fee, and they'll also be able to see their $65 disconnect too. Those are some of the advantages of bringing it in. A little bit easier to maintain, better information for our customers as well. And they'll be able to see their irrigation consumption as well as their household consumption all on one screen. Whereas right now we don't have that. We have to kind of sit there and say you have a leak. We kind of have to dig for, is it the irrigation system or is it the household meter, and kind of direct our customers that way. Next slide. So we eliminate the left side of the screen. We're left with a fairly easy process to go ahead and document our data flows and to go ahead and execute those data flows. We believe it'll be a win for the customers. It's also going to be a win for the city staff. This will help us with our disconnect process, and we do that 3 times a month, or each billing cycle. 1% of our customer base needs to go ahead. Once we give emails, text messages 3 times, then we go ahead and disconnect for non-payment. And that process will run a lot smoother under this system than what we're currently doing.
And most of your, all the in-house financial stuff is done with Tyler. Payroll, revenue, bill paying, all that.
Yeah, the integration is much easier. It makes it so much easier for us to reconcile cash at the end of the month, is when we have this all flowing together.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yes. So, Mr. Beeson, this is always a struggle for me as a business owner, is that we're putting more eggs in one basket, which can be a bit of a risk sometimes. So is there a plan of action in the event that we decide to divest ourselves of our relationship with Tyler? Or is there, every good business owner has a succession plan or has a plan of action in the event things kind of go by the wayside, like we did, we had that unexpected thing happen with Neptune or whoever the group was that.
Fathom. We did.
Fathom, right.
We had Fathom go out of business in 30 days notice.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Technologies, with $2 billion in revenue, they are one of the biggest gorillas out there for municipal software. Oracle, with the city of Tampa, runs on Oracle, and along with Hillsborough County. A lot more involved setup in order to make those operations go. I think Tyler Technologies, go ahead. They're, as Mike Panic says, they're at the top of the pinnacle. They're not going to be bought by anybody else.
Right.
So they're there.
But we're at the mercy of their pricing structure too. So whatever the.
Correct. But I have to say that.
Well, let me jump in real quick. If we have issues on this, we have really big issues because our entire software program is Tyler.
Right. Well,
So
that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
To me, that feels uncomfortable, but.
Yes, we've invested $1 million in Tyler Technologies and the software, and then also the implementation. The implementation is the big hurdle to get through, is to do an implementation.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to invest in that. To convert into this and put these billing into the Tyler, it just firms up how you operate and what you do. Leaving that one piece isn't going to change what happens if Tyler goes under or something like that.
No, but I guess, for example, when we talk about processing credit cards, there's a million different companies that do that. But the question is it something we can do in-house? That way we don't ever have to go back to our clients and ask them, or our customers, and say, hey, we want to make this change. They're doing it through some portal of the city of Zephyrhills instead.
Yeah, now our credit card processing would go from Paymentus into Tyler Technologies, and that probably would firm up that relationship for some time.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that we would easily go ahead and say, pull it away. In fact, Tyler Technologies would say, no, you bring it in the credit card processing. We're not going to allow you to look to somebody else to process those credit cards. That's us. We want that kind of a business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Paymentus is indicated to say like, oh, well, now that we're at the end of the contract, we'd like to talk about the wiggle room that we might have in our pricing. During my time of trying to convert, Paymentus was a little bit difficult to deal with, and so was WaterSmart. We did a lot. We did a lot to go ahead and bring Tyler Technologies into it. $19,000 a year for software maintenance on the water utility portion, the customer service. So pretty small compared to what we were paying with muni billing. but that was a lot bigger bill.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Good,
you.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I do. What, from a customer's perception, what's going to change? I mean, on their end, in other words, like I get the notice if I'm over on my watering or whatever, if I have a leak, all that's going to remain the same, right?
Well, we have a different URL that we'll go ahead and push out the information to. It'll look different, but we still are going to, leaks are going to be detected. We're going to push that information out. Payment, you can do it on your phone. It'll just have a different look and feel to it.
Right. And then, because I know on WaterSmart, you can look at past usage and kind of, it's pretty good when you go on their site and look and the way you can kind of extract data from that and figure out, if I was watering more last March than I did this March, still have that capability or?
It will. It'll have bar graphs indicating your monthly consumption.
And so, I always pay online, so I'll just go, when you go onto the city website, it takes you off-site, it says. So then you'll go just to Tyler instead of WaterSmart, and you probably won't even leave the site.
One-stop shopping, and the information is all in one place. The information system interacts very well with utilities access, which is what Tyler calls our portal.
So it'll populate over almost instantly then?
Correct. Therefore, it makes the disconnect process a lot easier as people are paying at the last second. Then our work orders don't leave the information system because we get the credit or payment immediately.
So the only people that are going to feel this initial change are the auto deposits who are going to have to re-up for that.
That's correct. And with that, if you advance one more. So let's talk a little bit about where our customers are. So credit card payments, debit cards and credit cards, of the 11,800 payments that are made in an average month, then 6,400 of those are credit card and debit card payments. Checks, I believe it's 1,800 that we process in the way of checks. People still put stamps and put a check in the mail, quite a bit that still takes place. Truist goes ahead, and if you pay through your bank's website, you push out a check, then we end up getting that electronically, and we get about 6% of that in that way. Auto pay, you can see the checks that are coming through auto pay, and you can see the credit cards that are coming through auto pay. I guess just to say is debit cards and credit cards, about 50% of our business is done with those two methods of payment. Now I want to kick this pile of ants because I really want to go ahead and get it out in front of us. Do we charge our customers to go ahead and pay the convenience of using debit cards and credit cards? Or do we absorb that cost? Currently, right now, we absorb that cost. There could be some thoughts as to say, well, why don't we pass that cost on to the consumer? Because not all of our consumers are using debit cards and credit cards. And I've become respectful to that way of thinking. I used to think like, don't have any barriers. If you want to do that, this would pretty much be the time in which we would want to get some discussion going as to if we want to go ahead and convenience fees. So that would be about $2.50 that a customer up and would say 3% of the cost with a minimum of $2.50. So if a customer is paying a $40 bill with a credit card or debit card, they would pay $2.50.
So is that, I'm sorry, Ted, is that just for the customers that are paying with a debit card or a credit card?
That's correct.
Not for someone that pays with a check or cash?
Check or cash, they don't get those fees. And if they can pay with their routing number and account number online, they don't have those fees as well.
Right.
All right. So they're going to use their debit card and their credit card. They would have those fees.
Thank you.
Do you worry that might deter people from paying that way, and then you're going to get more checks and things like that?
I think they're so used to the convenience. What I see is that they might drop the credit card, but they'll move over to ACH. They'll give us the bank account number and the routing number to do that transaction in that method. And I do see this as a time that we could go ahead and orchestrate that transition. If we're going to do it 2 years from now, then I would say, no, this is the time to do it. We're going to go ahead and reestablish auto pay. Let's reestablish auto pay with checking information rather than debit cards.
Well, I think you find in society now, almost everybody's passing those costs on anymore. You go to a tax collector's office, you're getting it. I mean, there's not many, some restaurants, I mean, it's more and more. So I think probably most people will be used to it at this point.
Yeah, a lot of our customers.
Now, you're not going to get it out of me. I'm cheap.
Me too.
That's right. I just
A
keep
lot of our
sitting my check.
A lot of our customers have
maybe like
expressed like they're taken back when we say we're not charging that convenience fee. I think we are in the minority. Temple Terrace has a convenience fee. Dade City has a convenience fee. Plant City does not have a convenience fee, and we don't as well.
Yeah.
I just take it with, we went through a transition with building permits where we now charge that fee to process credit cards. It seemed to work fairly smoothly. Everybody made the transition to paying with their checking.
And I think you're right. If you're going to change,
Well,
this
if
would be
you do
the
it
time to do
there.
it for sure.
Now, when do you want to implement it? When would this all go into effect?
Well, we would want to implement it first of December. But
Okay,
if we
so-
get better traction, we're able to early implement. We still probably want to see our paymentus contract out. Our attorneys are very rigorous on saying like, don't leave us a second early. We want to go ahead and see paymentus out for the end of December, but we want to go ahead and see if we can get everything operating well before then.
President, can I ask a
Yes.
question? So a lot of them don't charge it for debit card, but they do for credit because it's less fee on our side, usually on when you're running it, if it's a debit card than it is a credit, but you don't see that.
The interchange fee is a lot less for debit
Mhm.
cards. I have not seen where they differentiate and say, like, if you use a debit card, there is no charge. Credit card, there is a convenience charge.
Okay.
It's just once they see that Visa or MasterCard, Visa and MasterCard like to be charged or very similar what they're doing in operation, either debit or credit.
So I do all my online payments, but I'm very anal about it. I do not go to different sites. Well, I will only do it through my bank's thing. So that's what that Truist thing
Right.
is.
That's
So that doesn't change the people, those people that are doing that. That doesn't change that.
Right. The smoothest operation we have is those Truist payments come in and very little fee.
Right, okay.
Near
Because that's, like I say, I don't put my
Right.
information out on separate.
And I feel the same way. That's why I use a credit card when I pay, because I can always rescind a charge if there's fraudulent activity. I can't do that if they've gotten into my bank account.
That's why I do it through my own bank.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, I'm just looking at it. So that was 3 months, January to March, about, I'm just going to say 500,000 in credit card fees, 566. Was it more?
I'm sorry, you said 500, I'm sorry, 566,000 total amount
Of credit card?
Right, correct.
So I'm just roughly 3% that cards are charging us. That's 15 grand, right?
And that's right around what we've been paying right now is $15,000 per month.
So we're eating, and I'm going to tell you, I pay with a credit card because we don't charge that 2.9%. That's the reason I pay, because I get some points on it. So if you change it, I'm probably going to change to doing an ACH.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like those fees. When I
No.
go to a restaurant, yeah, but anyway,
But
it's a business decision,
Yeah,
and I think it's the right
I
one.
think we should do it, but I'm not saying, I'm saying we should do it because because it's costing us
Well,
$15,000.
yeah, the 15,000, it's roughly $170,000 a year that we pay to process credit card payments. Well, all payments as they come in through our utility billing operation. If we do this, we allow the checking to go ahead and flow through. The city would absorb those fees, which are substantially less, but the credit card processing, we would pass on to our customers.
I'm all for it.
Okay. And then what do you need from us?
I guess I would really like to know how many of you would like to have pass on the credit card processing fees to our customers. We'll lay that out. Please realize we're going to light them on fire initially. They are going to come at us.
Well, we
pretty-
just raised rates,
Well-
this year too, so.
And if you think about it, if somebody has a $40 water bill and they're struggling to pay it, those people, that's more than 10% of their, or it's almost 5% or whatever their bill. I know that I'm going to get calls about it.
Yeah, well, the benefit to I think you have probably fewer turnoffs or cutoffs or whatever you call them, because people can pay with credit cards.
Right.
If they couldn't, then you'd have a lot more people not able to pay their water bills probably.
You're right, Steve. And I'm not going to let 2.9% cause my water to get turned off. I'm going to use my credit card.
So, it's kind of, sometimes we ding the people that can afford it the least. What's council's?
I'm for the fees being passed on.
It's a sign of the times.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned.
everybody does it.
Everybody's doing it. So
Yeah.
Tax collector does.
All right, but what about the main picture?
The main picture is we can go through. I think I'm reading three of you that are pretty solid on charging those fees. We can go forward if you just authorize the city manager to sign these agreements, realizing that we'll have the final numbers. Right now, we could tell you if we absorb the cost, it would be 0.5%.
Well, wait, I'm talking about the whole, you're talking about the fee now? I'm talking about going over to.
I think we need direction from council to move to Paymentus and include that we will pass the credit card fees on to the customer.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do both.
There's 4 agreements that are part of this. Yes. I mean, we need authorization for those 4 agreements.
So you would like a motion to approve doing away with Water Smart and Paymentus and converting that into Tyler?
That's correct.
To, I guess, notify, what's Zephyrhills Notify? Is that just notify the people, the auto pay?
It's a module that goes ahead and pushes out the text messaging and the emails out of Tyler Technologies.
Okay. And then Zephyrhills Smart Water Meter Access?
Right. That's part of the Tyler agreement too, that they would pick up the readings from Neptune and be able to put them into Tyler.
And the Zephyrhills UA and Asset Registry implementation.
Utility access, it's the module, the portal. So those 4 agreements.
And then you'd like us to agree to recover the credit card fees that are charged?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Up to
3%.
$2.50 minimum.
minimum.
Minimum
Minimum.
250?
And then if you have 3% would be, so if you have a
It'd be
$500
3%.
bill.
But nobody has a $40 bill. The bills are a lot higher than $40.
That's what
I mean, because let's be real about that.
Well, it's $285 for me. Yeah, I have a 95. Now that the rates have gone up, my water bill.
Mine tends to be about 100.
So it's $3, $2.50 to $3 probably.
Oh, I thought it was a max of 250.
Is that right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, sorry, there was a question. Because it sounded like that you said your bill was 285.
No, I said
that's
the
the would
fee
be. Okay.
would be
All right. So I was
285. If my
trying to-
bill was 285, you'd know that.
Well, that's what we were just it's like, did he say 285?
That would be your Duke bill.
Yeah.
All right, so.
To our friends from Duke.
All right, so Ted would like a motion approving these 4 items plus including the
The city has,
credit card reimbursement.
Mr.
He was
President,
going to charge a convenience fee.
Mr. President, I move that we approve staff's recommendation on the 4 items and also to recover the credit card fees as Ted has laid out. And I suppose I need to add that we would allow the city manager to sign the agreements. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? No, motion passes unanimously. All right, Ted,
Thank you.
Okay. That brings us to the mayor announcements.
So I'm sure Billy's doing a little thing, so I'm not going to, I don't want to step on his toes, but I wasn't able to be at Planning Commission with Todd last week because we had a family thing happen. But I wanted Todd to recognize how much I appreciate him on the planning department and the work that he's done. And thank you for all that you've done for all these years. And yeah, we'll still see you, but and if I cannot be there on Thursday, please forgive me. It's not that I don't want to be there, but I'm going to try to be there for sure. And then want to congratulate Rodney on taking this over. I know it's going to be a big step for you, and on a planning department, planning commission, we're here to support you along the way and work with you too. So.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Just a brief, I want to thank everybody, all the elected officials and Billy for your leadership and support over the years and with my endeavors for the planning director position. Look forward to working with you all to continue to make this an incredible community to live, work, and play. And I'd also like to thank Todd and a warm welcome to retirement. So congratulations to Todd. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
City manager announcements.
Yes, so.
Stepped on his toes.
No, you're fine. So there is the retirement party on Thursday evening from 5 to 7 out of the tennis center. So that's where we'll do all the festivities. Our meetings maybe. Oh, sorry, it was a secret.
It's not a secret.
It's on Facebook. It was on Facebook.
There's no secret about it.
Todd didn't know he was retiring?
It was the worst kept secret, I think. It's happened.
Well, it's on the front of the website.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah. As we were planning it was a secret, and then it got out. So, Charlie, I'm sorry that you're gonna have to see more of them. Your loss is our gain. Our meetings will be shorter from now on.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, thank you, for your service to the city. We'll continue the roast on Thursday. We have groundbreaking of the city yard on May 7th at 12 p.m. We also update earlier today. I sent out that Abbott Square was not on reclaimed water. I found out that it actually went on reclaimed to the customers April 3rd. So that's the conversation. So I guess portion of the system is done and operational. The portion that hooks to the county is still in the works. So I thought it was all offline. So found that out.
That's good.
Also, the police department had a mock assessment for their accreditation, their reaccreditation, the 3-year recred. And so that went really well. Things looked really good. Chief and staff there are doing a great job. So, they'll continue to do what they do. And then in August, they'll have the official review, and then we'll see. So based on the mock, everything should be great. So that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. City attorney announcements?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Okay. City council, I'll start with Lance.
Okay, thank you. One thing, Ted, whenever the customers start complaining to me, I'm going to say, I told Ted not to do that. That was the worst idea I've ever heard. So nobody ever listens to the tapes on these things. But Todd, How long have you been with the city? I was trying to figure that.
29 years and 10 months.
Is that right?
Well, I think June,
June
towards
would
the end
be
of June,
30
yeah, it would have
years.
been 30 years.
So
Well,
29 years and 10 months.
Yeah, April,
Wow.
May, June, yeah.
Hey, he's a planner. His math is not his forte.
Yeah, but I
It's the
think
plan or not the finance.
yeah,
plan.
it's the plan, right? I think I met you pretty early when you came here to the
Right.
city. You and I coached a soccer team together one
Yeah,
time, had a great
that's right.
time doing that. Our kids grew up together, had Halloweens at the house, knew Miss Charla forever. Matter of fact, when the kids saw her in school, Miss Charla's what they called her instead of Miss Vanderberg. And they were allowed to do that too. So, but I thought about it. We've done just so much together. We were talking earlier how our daughters are some of the most competitive people we've ever been around. I mean, it doesn't matter what you were doing, which was great to see that. And I think about it. You've taken a lot of flack and heat from people because you've denied certain things. But I think most of the time you were right on. And the thing I think that what made you successful is you had a way of just letting them know that you stuck to your guns, but you would also compromise too. And I think you safeguarded the city and did a wonderful job. The only problem that I ever had was you graduated from FSU.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Go Noles.
But congratulations. I won't make it Thursday, but you and I will get together soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Jody?
you. Well, I do hope to make it on Thursday. And I'd like to make a donation to the foundation in your name.
Oh, thank you
And,
so much.
I would like to remind you that if it weren't for you and Steve, I would not be here because I wrote a letter, I think, to the city praising you on the job that you did on the,
Streetscape?
no, it was the YMCA and the, diligence at which you folks had really kind of embraced that public partnership. And then you called me into your office and said, hey, can you read plans? And I said, well, yeah, but I'm just a little interior architect. He said, that's all you need to know. And so here I am today after all of that. And I really enjoyed every part from the traditional neighborhood developer. I had to go out and hire someone to read the documents to me because I didn't understand them and I didn't want to be embarrassed. And then the, working on the Historic Preservation Board and arguing with you about the metal building that Mr. Newcomb built on 301. And just thinking what a great steward of our city that you have been. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Charlie?
How do you beat that? Todd, we've been friends a long time. You've always had the city's interest ahead of your own. You've done an amazing job and you're going to be dearly missed, my friend.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to congratulate Rodney again. I know we spoke, but congratulations on taking over for Todd. So you got big shoes to fill. But Todd, I know it's going to be different because you're going to have a day certain, or you're going to retire, and then the next day you're not going to be going to work. When I retired, it was like normal at the end of the school year, so we always had the summer off. So it never really impacted me the way I'm sure it's going to hit you. And as I told you before when I saw you, you might want to keep getting up early in the morning for a while at least, because Charlie is not going to be happy when she's got to get up and go to work and you're going to be lounging around. So, but congratulations. You were kind of like the first line of defense when it comes to things go to you first before it ever even gets close to us. And you head off a lot of the things that we would have to talk about up here. So I appreciate all that you did for all the 30 years and, congratulations. You're going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
Todd, I remember the interview we had in my office on that corner. And you sat against the wall and you were really nervous. And
I remember that.
I found out later that he had picked up a Zephyrhills News and they had a picture of me on it and I looked rough. And he thought I looked mean and it rattled him before he went to the interview. But I guess everything worked out all right because that was about 29 years and 10 months ago. And the other thing I remember from just a lot of those days, I mean, it was kind of crazy because, and that's how we ended up hiring Tammy Varana, because Nick had passed away and she was helping us with the comp plan during that time. And Miss Charla would come up, she was doing a daycare at the time, and she would come up with the girls, and she always baked something. And we would say, finally, we'd get, Todd, is Charla coming up this week? She made the best cakes and pies and desserts. But it's been an amazing time with you. You've done a great job. You bought into this community. You still, I mean, you're working to the last day, literally. You're not kind of vacationing and retiring in place. And I appreciate the efforts you've put in, especially these last years when it's been a little rougher probably. And I look forward to you having a time off, and I look forward to working with Rodney. So
I'll make
we'll see you Thursday.
I'll make a few comments. Thank you, first of all, for all the kind sentiments. Yeah, it's been about 30 years, and about 25, 26 years ago, I convinced my bride to move to Zephyrhills. That was a big move for us. We were established in Brandon, had good friends, and our church there, and it was a hard move, but yeah, we made that move, and you know, it's been a great move. It's been a great employment opportunity with the city of Zephyrhills, a great place to work, great place to raise a family. And I know we both really enjoyed it. I worked under two very good city managers, the two that are here tonight. I guess there was one other, but I'll just acknowledge the two that are here tonight. Oops, I guess I should have said that right there. But you know, it's unique, as everyone knows, to have that tenure with city managers. Most cities, you don't have that, but I've been blessed to work with Billy and Steve, and, you know, same thing with the planning commission. And some of them guys, Dave Armstrong was on there before I even got here, and he's still on it. And working with Jody, and, you know, it's such a good team to work with, and excited to see what's happening with the city, with all the parks, you know, the sidewalks, trails we're really picking up. That's pretty cool to see, you know, all the traffic improvements, the hot spots, and the industrial corridor. You know, for what, 29 years, we had to beat off the residential developers, and they, you know, some of the locals would come and say, Todd, well, I understand your vision, but it's not selling, they're not coming. But, you know, we'll never have to answer that again, will we? With all the great manufacturing and the great jobs that are being created. And as mentioned, you know, the planning department is going to be in great hands with Rodney, Will, and Carlos. They've been doing a great job, and they'll continue to do that. And Shane was just telling me just a little bit ago, he wants me to continue to stay really active and bring him a lot of good ideas and comments. Right, Shane? But again, I'll close in saying that it's been a really great pleasure to serve this council and the mayor, and enjoyed my time with the city, and I'll be around and look forward to continue working with the community and the staff here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those comments for Shane during the workday, not at council meetings.
All right. All right. Adjourn the meeting.
Yeah.
First meeting.
Yeah, that was an issue with that.